Boys State Wrestling Championships. Tonight, live from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa, a sellout crowd of 12,500 is on hand to witness the 66th annual high school competition. It started with 624 competitors, and now only 78 remain. This evening, 3 team titles will be determined, and 39 individual champions will be crowned. Good evening, everybody. I'm Doug Brown with Chuck Patton and CP. I don't know about you, but I haven't quite come down yet from that 10th anniversary college wrestling at Iowa State meet last week.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And we're looking for fun tonight, too. This is our 15th high school. And I'll tell you what, I'm told there are more people here this week than they've ever had.
I think it's somewhere around 60,000 by the time they're done, Doug, and that is really the best wrestling in the country for the high school level, so why wouldn't people come out to watch it?
Well, the college recruiters are all over. The place is full of them. What are they going to see?
Well, they're going to see some real outstanding individuals, but more than likely they're here to see all that great crop of juniors. It's a great young group.
Here are the classes you're going to see tonight. We have 1A, 2A, and 3A, and we have to show you one match at a time, even though 3 mats are busy. So, in a 3-year rotation decided by the Iowa High School Athletic Association, we go in the lower weights at 2A. Then from 126 to 145 at 3A this year, 155 to heavyweight in 1A, and the super heavyweight we're going to start in AAA. But you know, a lot of those things end early. As you know, there are pins, there are injuries, all sorts of things, and we're going to show you as many other matches as we possibly can. Also, while we're talking about individuals that the recruiters are looking at, let's mention one from each weight class, each school size. First of all, at 1A, here's a young man named Lane Billings we're going to be looking at tonight.
Lane Billings is really outstanding. He's coming in here from a great record. He was a runner-up when he was just a freshman. Then he won it last year when he was a junior. Now here he is back in trying to get his second championship.
And we have 2 young men tonight going for their 3rd title. This young man at AA from West Marshall.
Well, Jason Kelber really is very close to having had a chance to be a 4-timer. He lost with 4 seconds to go when he was a freshman. He's really an outstanding student as well as a great wrestler.
Well, I'll tell you, there are more wrestling nights in Clinton than you can shake a stick at, and here's the latest one.
Well, he's only a junior, so he's really going for his 3rd championship while he's a junior. Possibility of being one of those rare 4-timers.
And for some of the other individuals, let's go to our floor reporters, because we have Dean Borg and Dick Trotter back again this year to tell you what's happening on those other matches. First of all, Dean Borg.
Doug, I'm going to be looking at the 1A match first of all, and then as the heavier weights come on, I'm going to move to 2A. In 1A particularly, I'm going to be watching Pat Wilson of Shelby and Rod Decker of Winthrop. Pat Wilson's been here all 4 years. He placed no higher than 3rd, but he's wrestling Rod Decker, who at 1985 was champion at 119. And then over in the 2A mat at 185, 2 people who have met in districts this year met here last year, Rod Lyman of Tama and Tracy Allen of Mount Vernon. That proves to be a real grudge match. They know each other. And now let's go over to Dick Trotter, see what he has.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean. We'll be starting out in the lighter weights in 3A competition, 98 through 119. Then we skip over to 2A and go on up to 145. One of the outstanding young men we'll be watching closely is young Mark Ryland, who is in his 3rd trip now to the state tournament tonight. He'll be looking to take home the gold. And then we skip to 3A for the final 5 matches, or 4 matches, from 55 through heavyweight. And one of the great matches there could be at 167, where from Webster City, Bart Schelsvig will try to improve on a 30-0 record against a young lad from Marshalltown, Aaron Chambers. Should be a great night. Now back to you, Doug.
And there are going to be 3 happy towns tonight in the state of Iowa for taking home team titles. Lisbon's already locked it up.
Well, there's still a real battle in there for second. You can see those teams that have a chance at it.
And at 2A, we're not quite sure about the winner, but it might well be Eagle Grove.
Well, Emmitsburg would have to have 2 pins out of the 2 finalists they have. The battle there is really for 3rd.
But we're not decided at AAA. Look at that score.
Well, all of those teams except for West Des Moines Dowling still have athletes. Some 2, some 3. So there's really a chance for a big shuffle. We'll keep you apprised.
So it looks like a fun night. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the 1986 Boys State Wrestling Championships here on Iowa Public Television. Championships. And now let's join PA announcer Mo Kelly for tonight's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a tremendous welcome for the greatest young athletes in the state of Iowa and in the nation. The top place winners in the 1986 State High School Wrestling Tournament. The Grand March of Champions, led by David Hardy, Assistant Executive Secretary of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. Will be presented this evening by Des Moines East's Marching Scarlets Color Guard.
Grand March of top 6 place winners in each of the 3 school sizes. That's always a big moment for parents, for friends, for the schoolmates, and for the young men themselves.
Well, you know, some of the young men have matches tonight, and they're not too fired up about the Grand March, but pageantry of the tournament as a whole, this really adds a lot of class to it, and in the long run, when they look back in their memory, they're going to be real thankful that they had a chance to participate.
Now, the matches are going to be coming up here shortly. We're going to have some awards along the way. There are the team scores and the way the team points are allowed. Tonight, actually, these matches are for 4 points.
Yes, all the points that they could have earned through second place are already recorded. Now just the winners will get the 4, and if they get a fall, of course, they'll get 2 extra.
And a default or forfeit or disqualification. We hope none of that happens. And if you get a superior decision, win by more than 12, that's 1. Major decision is a half.
Some of those guys will be going for those tonight to try to move their team up a little notch.
Yeah, especially in those ones where it really matters on the extra points. You're watching the Des Moines East High School color guard out in the center, and very shortly we'll have some of the major awards where people who have contributed a great deal to the sport of high school wrestling, and I know some of them are old friends of yours, CP, will be out giving their all for one of the nights that is the biggest in their history. Here goes Mo Kelly again.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State High School Wrestling Tournament 1986. To begin with, we'd like to acknowledge one more time a good friend, a tremendous friend of wrestling, particularly in the state of Iowa, a fine competitor himself at the high school level and collegiately, an outstanding coach, a tremendous official, and for the past 15 years, one of the leaders in his sport administratively throughout the nation. How about another hand for our Grand March Escort 1986 Assistant Executive Secretary of the Iowa High School Athletic Association, Mr. David Hardy. To assist me with the first few presentations this evening, 2 members of the Board of Control of the Iowa High School Athletic Association. To my left is Keith O'Connell, the superintendent at Jackson Junction, Turkey Valley. And to my immediate left is Larry Parr, the principal at Ankeny High School. We all know that many fine schools are represented by athletes in our wrestling tournament. That means that many of our schools have tremendous wrestling programs. But in Iowa, our schools have many, many outstanding programs in other fields of endeavor, as well as athletically. And you know, although the athletes and the coaches perhaps get most of the credit, there has to be someone at the administrative level that does a tremendous job of aiding in making these programs in their school great. We give what we consider School Administrator Awards. We have 2 of those awards to present this evening. 2 gentlemen, ironically, both will be completing close to 40 years of service to Iowa schools this coming spring. First of all, let's introduce to you one of our recipients. He's been the superintendent at Ankeny High the past 26 years, a strong supporter of Iowa education, both in academics and in athletics. Meet Keith Hopkins and his wife, Colleen. Another recipient of School Administrator Award 1986, another gentleman that's going to retire after nearly 40 years of service to Iowa schools, and another strong supporter of all programs in the schools that he has been a part of, both academically and athletically. He's been the superintendent at Waukon the past 6 years, Mr. M.F. Whitney and his wife, Beverly of Waukon. Many members of the medical profession serve our young athletes, our young students in many, many ways. We're going to honor one of them this evening with a Team Doctor Award. They have been nominated, the gentlemen that receive these awards, by our member schools. So that shows the high esteem that they are held in their home communities. It's kind of interesting that this evening the gentleman we're going to honor is a former wrestler, and a very good one, a state champion on a state championship team at New Hampton. And now he is serving that community as a member of the medical profession. Needless to say, he goes above and beyond when it comes to providing tremendous care for the young people of that community. A Team Doctor Award to Dr. James Carr from New Hampton, accompanied by his wife, Mary Kay. And now we turn to the officials. Somebody indicated at the coaches' breakfast this morning, what would our sport be without officials? Well, I guess there just wouldn't be a sport without officials. These gentlemen that officiate the various athletic contests, needless to say, put in many, many hours away from home, and needless to say, the pay is rather minimal. But they're willing to do it because of their love of young people and their love of athletics, particularly at the high school level in general. We have two such officials that we're going to introduce to you now and induct into our Officials Hall of Fame. Both of these men were primarily wrestling officials, so that doubles the pleasure this evening. One of them, the first one we will introduce, worked in the state tournament this year. He's been doing it for a number of years. He's been officiating for some 26 years on the mat. He's about to call it quits, and we're sorry to say that, but we'd like to recognize his efforts for those many years of service here this evening. From Davenport, Iowa, member of the Officials Hall of Fame, Dick Colson, and his wife, Audrey. Another inductee in the Officials Hall of Fame hails from Cedar Falls, Iowa. Another gentleman that was an outstanding wrestling referee back in the earlier days. He was good enough to work 10 state championship meets. So that pretty well tells you the story, the success story of Delbert Jensen of Cedar Falls, accompanied by his wife, Frances. And now it's Hall of Fame time. The Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Iowa High School Coaches and Officials Association combine forces every year to look back a ways and pick out some of the gentlemen that have done so much for our great sport of wrestling in different ways here in the state of Iowa. We have 5 such men that we'd like to honor this evening by inducting them into our Wrestling Coaches and Officials Hall of Fame. And let's begin first of all with a gentleman that's still active. He's been coaching for over 25 years. The record tells the story. 3 state championships, 3 runner-up titles. Almost year after year, they're in the thick of the race for that team championship. And of course, you know that if that is true, they also have many, many individuals that perform exceedingly well. Our first Hall of Famer, still the coach at West Des Moines Dowling, meet Coach Bob Dara and his wife, Donna. Talk about serving in many different capacities. Our next Hall of Famer certainly does that. Once again, an outstanding prep performer, winning a couple of state championships as a high school wrestler. He went to State Teachers College, now the University of Northern Iowa, won a couple of NCAA titles there. Then he turned his attention to high school coaching, was a coach in Iowa at 2 or 3 different of our high schools, and then on to the universities. He has also done some outstanding officiating with the mat sport. Currently, the University of New Mexico head wrestling coach, meet Hall of Famer Bill Dotson and his wife Sue. Now, I want to be sure and mention that Bill Dotson performed at East Waterloo High, one of the schools in our state that has had such a tremendous background. And we're going to introduce to you in a moment another of the fine East Waterloo wrestlers. Right now, let's turn our attention to a young man that wrestled at Mason City High School. He was a 2-time state runner-up for the Mohawks, but that was just a little inkling of some great things to happen after that. He went on to become a great collegiate performer at the University of Michigan, won 3 Big Ten championships, a couple of times was named the most valuable wrestler in that conference, went on and became an NCAA champion as well. In recent years, he's been devoting most of his time to high school coaching in Minnesota. They're having their state tournament now, and he could not be here with us in person, but we have representing our Hall of Famer, Norbert Snip Nalen of Mason City, his brother, Jerry. How about a nice hand? Now back to East Waterloo for a moment. Here's the other gentleman from East Waterloo High that is inducted into our Hall of Fame this evening. He, of course, was another competitor under that Hall of Fame coach, Dave Natvig at East. He was a 3-time state champion, and you know, there have only been about 30 wrestlers in our entire state history that have won 3 state championships. Paul is also proud of the fact that he was the first black to win 3 state championships. Later, he went on to junior college out in Colorado and finished very high in a pair of junior college national tournaments. Hall of Famer from East Waterloo, meet Paul Stinson. And finally, a gentleman that, again, has been a long-time coach, but he spread his talents around a little bit. He spent about 9 years with us here in Iowa at Eagle Grove High School, and also coached 1 year at Iowa State College, and took the Cyclones to what was then a Big 6 conference title. But in addition to that, he's also coached for many, many years in the states of Kansas and Wisconsin. He still resides in Wisconsin. We're very happy that he could come back this evening to receive this induction into our Hall of Fame. How about a nice greeting for Ray Stone and wife Marcella? There they are, the Hall of Famers. How about another nice hand for them? Now, as we mentioned earlier, there was a breakfast this morning of the Wrestling Officials and Coaches Association, and every year, these gentlemen, the coaches and the officials of the state of Iowa, honor their own. They pick their own coaches of the year for that particular year. They also pick a junior high coach of the year and an official of the year. Needless to say, a high honor because you are chosen by your peer group. So at this time, we'd like to introduce the gentleman who will represent the organization in making these awards. Over to the far right is Phil Henning of Marshalltown, president of the group at this time. The vice president next to him, Dave Ripley, the coach at Riceville, and next to Dave is the secretary-treasurer, John Kinley of Jefferson. Okay, now to the honors themselves. And let's begin with Class 1A, Coach of the Year, 1986. He is from Lisbon. They have had, needless to say, a tremendous record and are very much in the race here this evening for 1986 honors. Brad Smith, Class 1A, Coach of the Year. Our Class 2A Coach of the Year has been at it for over 20 years, and the last couple have been mighty rewarding because they've been in the top 5 each of those years in the team race. How about a nice hand for Class 2A Coach of the Year from State Center, West Marshall, Coach Jim Steyer. And his assistant coach is Doug Deerdorf. Finally, we go to Class 3A, and they always say, Marshalltown, what a great basketball school, but they're also a great wrestling school, and it's been proven here many times in recent years as they have consistently finished in the top 4 or 5 in their class as a team at our state meet. So, the Coach of the Year, Class 3A, is Coach Phil Henning of Marshalltown. And his assistants are Dennis Pelisek and also Lowell Strike. Now here's another group that maybe gets slighted just a little bit, but certainly they are very important to the overall picture of a great wrestling program. And that's the junior high coach. The one that we're honoring this evening has been coaching junior high for 16 years. He does a little bit of everything to aid the wrestling program at Maquoketa High. The junior high coach of the year, Jeff Campier. And the official of the year, he's worked over 700 dual meets in a long officiating career, over 250 tournaments, and has worked as many state meets as anybody in our history. The official of the year is Arlo Plaguey. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your attention this evening. How about going to the mat?
Our congratulations to all the award winners here this evening. We'll be back with our first weight class in just a moment. Well, here we are at Veterans Auditorium, all set to go with wrestling, the state championships. Let me tell you again what I told you before, that we have a 3-year rotation of weight classes so that you can see all the size of schools uniformly throughout the years. And tonight, well, the first 4 weight classes will come from the AA, the middle-sized schools. The next 4 from 3A. The heavier weights will come from the single A, and there is a super heavyweight extra, and we'll have that, the AAA match, to start. Now, that just means the one we'll start with. We'll begin to take that match as far as it'll go, and it often happens that we see all 3. It's sometimes you get a quick pin, sometimes there's an injury timeout, and occasionally they're just One takes a little bit longer for other reasons than you might expect. So we hope to see a lot of young men tonight. We're going to start at AA in 98-pound class. Now, Kent Stryker is in the finals. He's from Starmont High School in Strawberry Point. And his opponent is Brian Wilcox, who is undefeated this year. He's 35-0. Stryker's 33-1. He's from Bloomfield, Davis County. Now, Stryker is only a freshman, and Brian Wilcox is a junior. And they're going for the championship of the AA class with Bill Ross of New Hampton as the referee. And CP, these two people have got in here with only one loss between them.
Yes, Brian Wilcox is coming in finishing third last year, which means he really only lost once in last year's tournament to come back and get third. And he's going against the freshman, Kent Stryker, who really is a pinner of all you can imagine. The freshmen wrestling, most of them just barely squeak out. But here's a guy that's got 26 of his 33 matches have either won by technical fall or falls, which means he is pretty much of a gunner. And of course, he's got a brother in the finals at another weight, 138.
Now let's help you out a little bit here. In the black uniform, you'll see Kent Stryker. And Stryker is also one of the leggings, and then Brian Wilcox, Bloomfield, Davis County. There they are. That's the 2A class. Up in the corner, you see the 1A will be going Matt Otten versus Tony Hunt. We'll keep an eye on that. Wizard position on the edge of the mat. Now that other matchup in the corner going on is a AAA between David Schmidt of Boone and David Manson of Marshalltown. Marshalltown's trying to win a state championship here. These are 6-minute matches, 2 minutes a period. And there's no riding time in high school. Those are the major differences, I would suspect.
That's right. And here you can see Wilcox from Bloomfield has stopped Stryker from Starmont. Now he's trying to use his length. You know, he's a fairly long athlete for a 98-pounder, and he stopped him. He's got him caught underneath. He's trying to do a spin around behind him. Just didn't quite have enough momentum in order to get in there.
He has his head where he wants it.
Let's go to work now, guys. You got to go to work,
He has his head where he wants it, but he wasn't able to get anything out of it. A minute to go in the first period.
Stay in the middle.
Well, shots are coming from a little too far away, but he is creating an offense, which puts
Can't just tie up. Let's go.
his opponent has to always back out. It's a good way to get warned for stalling, you know, to keep your back to the edge. So he's going to have to generate an offense. Brian Wilcox in Bloomfield, Davis County.
You got my time. Fix your head, your son. Fix it.
Referee Bill Ross of New Hampton sends him back to the center. The Starmont young man is Kent Stryker on the left. We'll probably be looking at him for 3 more years, only a freshman. Brian Wilcox, undefeated, is coming around behind. This is the closest thing he's had to a takedown so far.
Well, he doesn't have him yet. Neither man really is in control of the shed. You see the officials.
Points here. No points.
There you hear him say it.
No points.
It depends now on whether Wilcox and Bloomfield knows how to Granby out of here, because he can't get his leg out. Stryker from Starmont has to get his legs out in order to be able. Now there he did the Granby. Now he can catch him here for 2 or 3 more if he can get his body upright.
We have 8 seconds to go.
No points here yet.
In the first period, they still haven't made a takedown.
That's 2.
As soon as he gets out, he might have him toward his back to score 2 more.
Takedown goes to Stryker.
Choice, son. Red
Right
deferred.
at the end of the
Green,
period.
your choice. No, red deferred. Be your choice now.
Deferral. And Wilcox gets his
Green
choice.
takes up. Green up.
He wants
Look
to go
at me,
up.
okay? Turn it around. Look at me.
Those are the coaches
Set.
of
We're
the
set now.
Davis County wrestling.
Top man in.
At the whistle. Wilcox, who is trailing by 2, gets into that spiral ride, near arm and waist anyway.
No, Wilcox is ahead, Doug. He's the guy who got that takedown right at the end.
Wilcox is ahead of Stryker.
Right. He's got a lot of length on him. You see, he's got probably 6-8 inches of height advantage, which gives him a little longer range. He's putting a lot of pressure on young Kent Stryker from Starmont right now. Never letting him quite get back to his base. Now he's knocked him down now and has a chicken wing in on him. Now he lets it go and goes into a head lever. And both of these can be effective offensively, but he's going to have to use them. He's going to control the hips, let go of it.
And the idea, of course, is to get the man over on his back if he can do it.
2-0.
2-0. They bring it back to the middle.
Well, without writing time, which they don't have anymore in high school, a long time ago, a lot of people used to watching the collegiate series hear us talk about time advantage, but here it's just a matter of whether you can turn him over or not.
Red had the takedown in the first period.
Now he says that Stryker had the takedown in the first period, CP. So I guess it was the... Red has the takedown, and so it is Stryker leading 2-0.
That baffles me how they got 2 out of that position they were in. One man's in the Granby.
Want to stop the match and go out and ask it.
No, we don't have a chance to do that. Now he's got a reversal.
That's a tough freshman.
Puts him ahead by 4, and he's a good tilter. You know, he's good with the tilts. He's in a position he likes to be in with the chicken wings and the tilts.
Kent Stryker, only a freshman. I'm watching him, makes you wonder who beat him.
Work for a fall now, Top. You got to get off the hip.
Early on, he lost one of his first matches.
And you can see he doesn't mess around out there. He wants to go for the pin. He takes chances.
Well, he's lost the arm now, so he doesn't have arm control. If the young man from Bloomfield can get his head upright, he has a chance. Well, it's blown a stalemate, so that kind of saved the young Kent Stryker from Stama. Dangerous situation.
2-0 is the score.
Set then.
Wilcox of Davis County goes down.
Top man in.
Stryker comes over the top with 20 seconds to go in the second period. Stryker leads by 4-0.
See, I put all the pressure in that arm on the whistle, just jammed the arm in tight, and he's controlling the hips. Pulls him down, and this is where he gets his tip points. Lifts him up with the leg, exposes the back. See that one leg just lifting him up.
Makes it 6-0.
When a man controls the hips tight like that, gives him every opportunity to get those tips.
And Stryker feels that he's successful enough now on top that he's going to take the top position in the third period, leading by 6.
There's a quick move on the whistle to get him to his feet. When he pulls him down, you see he's right back in, controlling the waist with that arm. And what he's going to try to do is thread through the crotch, control the arm with it, then step up around the head. He's got the arm through the waist. Now he'll run out around the head with it. There's no brace over there. And he knows if he gets out to the front, he can turn him again.
Unfortunately for him, the shoulders are out of bounds, and there's no way to get a near fall. He's a very aggressive freshman.
That's right. You know, and he's doing what you have to do in order to get a man over, and that is you tie up a brace on one side and get out to the opposite side and start to push him, or run out around his head and turn him around it. You know, he'll go over.
Having headgear problems here. Brian Wilcox trails by 6, and he only has a minute and a half to make it up. Some of the other matches, by the way, in the 1A class, it's Otten trying to finish an undefeated season. He's up 8-4 with not much time left against Hunt. And there's a pretty fair match going on at AAA, but right now Mansion is leading Schmidt of Boone. Marshalltown is trying to pick one up.
He came out of that attempted switch, picked up the ankle, came right back on him again. Now see, he has the wrist controlled. He knows if he goes down with that, here he slipped it into a chicken wing. As long as he keeps the pressure toward the head, it's very difficult to score there.
Watch the pressure now.
Score can be for the guy on top. He's trying to run out around the head again.
Watch that pressure, okay?
Too much pressure on the shoulders, says Bill Ross of New Hampton. I have a suspicion we're going to see this young man again.
Well, I tell you, this young guy likes to get after that pin. I told you, he's a pinner.
6-0 is his lead. Now Wilcox, you're looking at Brian now, has to come from 6 points behind. He has less than a minute to do it. Again, a switch try.
Okay.
Locked hands.
Well, he's got his hips down now, and he's got a knee trap. So right here, Wilcox has every opportunity, if he can get his hips up over top and come out of there. He's going to get called for locking hands here, I believe.
1 point, that bottom man, that top man locked his hands.
All right, 1 point for Wilcox and a penalty.
Set.
You can't lock hands on the mat when you're down on the mat.
So if the man gets his supporting parts off the mat, then you can lock. Can't do it in that position.
Gave Stryker a new start. This is Kent Stryker on top, leading with a half a minute to go, 6-1.
Well, here he is back to where he's got a wrist control. You see, he's got a wrist through the legs. He's laced him up. He's trying to pull him back over. Now, it's a little bit dangerous right here because he doesn't have control of all the arms. You know, he wants. Now, if he gets out there, he's got him. He can run out around the head. And here he'll get him to his back again.
With the leg scissors now. He didn't want to settle for a 5-point lead. He didn't want to sit on it.
He doesn't know how, Doug. Really, that's the beauty of this. One guy doesn't know how to sit on the lead. He goes for near fall points. That's great. That's what wrestling's all about.
You bet. 8-1 is the score. An impressive victory for a freshman from Starmont, Strawberry Point, Kent Stryker. He defeats a previously undefeated wrestler, Brian Wilcox of Davis County, at 98 pounds for the championship of the state. And as I say, nobody's beat him yet. He's got 3 more years to try it.
It's the start of another 4-timer. Who knows?
That's at 98 pounds. Let's go for a floor report now to Dean Borg.
Well, Doug, an unbeaten from Manly, North Central at Manly. Matt Otten stayed unbeaten. He defeated Tony Hunt. Tony is from Central Decatur at Leon, 8-4. Actually, Otten controlled the match all the way, piled up 5 points in the first period, another 2 in the second, and escaped in the third, piled up an 8-4 victory. Dick Trotter?
Okay, in the big school competition, a senior from Marshalltown prevailed tonight. That would be Dave Manchon, who started out behind a 10th grader from Boone. And it's been the first time Boone's had a gentleman in the finals. He came through with a takedown, but it wasn't to prevail. David Smith started out 2-0, but he lost in the later going when he got caught on his back to Dave Manchon of Marshalltown, the new champion at 98 pounds. Now back to you, Doug.
Let's go to 105 now. Again, we're in the AA class for the first 4 weights. And at AA here, we'll have Terry Brands, undefeated from Sheldon. First of 2 brands we're going to be looking at. This is quite a brother act against the potential team champion, Eagle Grove's Brad Gazaway.
Terry Brands is the defending champion. Last year won his title at 98 pounds. He's undefeated this year. One of, as you said, a brother act, and really is an outstanding competitor. Gazaway, on the other hand, is just a sophomore. And I think his father was one of those famous basketball players from Marshalltown we heard about earlier in the show when we were talking about Marshalltown's successes.
And we're ready to go at 105 pounds AA. They both have dark uniforms on, relatively blue, but the Eagle Grove wrestler is in the purple with a white stripe around the middle. On the right, Brad Gazaway. And Terry Brands of Sheldon has the vertical stripe. He's on the left.
Well, you see a lot of tempo from the young man from Sheldon. Terry Brands is a real goer, and he has a reputation around the state as being one of those young guys that just goes out and wrestles hard from start to finish.
Gazaway has the first shot, however. He has a single leg takedown attempt stopped by Brands. Go back to the center. This time again, the shot, but this time Brands has it.
Well, he's in deep enough. As long as he can be patient, he has every opportunity to score from this. Just has to be able to be patient, be able to control, keep pressure down. Of course, Gazaway's doing a real nice job here for just a sophomore, being able to keep the whizzer, fight off that takedown.
And it's 2-0. Favor of the champion last year at 98, Terry Brands. Up at 1A, you're looking at a Lisbon wrestler putting Bobby Short of Central Decatur on his back very early in their match and leading now 5-0. That's at 1A. At AAA on another mat, we have Clinton's Baron Hendricks wrestling against Doug Kanotic of Lewis Central.
We'll keep you up in those matches later on, and maybe we might have a chance to spend some time with one of them.
Well, the match we're watching, Terry Brands from Sheldon has really put a lot of pressure on Brad Gasway from Eagle Grove right from the beginning. As soon as he took him down, he's been tough on him on top. Now here he has the wrist controlled and the waist controlled, trying to tip him for a 2-point near fall. And he did get that.
You got 2 back points.
So now he's ahead 4-0, Doug, and he has the leg in, which is usually fairly difficult for a high school wrestler to be effective against.
He's going to use it.
He's got the leg, and that kind of isolates the man on the bottom. He doesn't know exactly where to go and what to do with it.
He's looking at the clock. He has just a couple of seconds left to get anything. Referee ends it. Referee is Larry Blaker of Perry. 2-minute periods.
Green man, your choice. Green man takes down.
Brands has his choice. The second period he takes down. Go. And stands up right away and comes out. Leads 5-0, comes back with a takedown shot on a single leg, turns to a double and makes it 7-0.
Well, he's starting to open this match up just by being very aggressive and more confident than his opponent. Gasway came into this championship 20-8, which doesn't look very impressive, but 4 of those losses were last year's state champion from Fort Dodge, Asherle, and 3 of them were to a man from Iowa Falls who was ranked #1 in state all year. So he really had a pretty good year, but right now he's just getting manhandled by young Terry Brands from Sheldon, last year's state champion.
Eagle Grove is in first place in the team score for the AA schools, and if Gasaway were somehow to win, he would be able to put the team score away, but it looks like it isn't to be unless Brad Gasaway can come up with something big.
He's got to hurry, too. Just heard a loud roar. There was a fall by the Lisbon wrestler,
Chad Williams, at 105 pounds.
Get your shoe right here.
We'll be talking about that again later on. Terry Brands of Sheldon. Well, his brother Tom is coming up at the next weight. Neither one of them's lost a match this year.
No, in fact, this young guy, not Brad Gasway is the opponent, but the young Terry Brands that you were talking about, has only had 2 takedowns against him all year in 33 matches.
No,
so
nothing yet. Nothing.
he knows what he's doing when he gets out there, doesn't he?
I think your mind would wander at least 3 times during the year, you know.
Well, I think he's very intent on what he's trying to do. He certainly is working over young Brad Gasway from Eagle Grove. Controls the hips. See how he's got that tucked in? Then he tries to jam the arm, pull him over, and load him up for a possible tilt.
You got to use that top, man. You got to use that there.
Larry Blaker of Perry is the official, and he's telling Terry Brands he has to use what he's working on. He can't just blanket ride. So he decided to back off and try something new.
Well, what he's trying to do is he's trying to get young Brad Gasway's hips a little higher. And you know, he's talking to him, but it's hard to turn a guy over when he's laying flat. So what he's trying to do is loosen him up a little bit, let him have some daylight, and then maybe catch him on his back.
There's the end of the second period. 7-0 in favor of Terry Brands over Brad Gasaway of Eagle Grove.
Goes down.
And it looks as if
Okay, let's go.
Marv Ryland wishes he could think of something to help his young man out with.
I'm sure when you sit in that chair long enough, as Coach Ryland has, you probably get an idea of when it's going pretty stout against your opponent, against one of your athletes, and so you hope that he doesn't get hurt. Hope that he does as well as he can when under the conditions. This is a good athlete that young Brad Gasway is wrestling, Terry Brands from Sheldon.
Sheldon working with a chicken wing now. Trying to get control of the other arm if he can and turn his man over. This chicken wing, the bar arm, has come back into wrestling again this year. They loosened up with the restrictions on it.
Well, they give him a little more time to work it, too, and that helps out some. He's not any concern at all about control. He's just trying to turn him over.
Back to the center.
Well, these young boys, Terry Brands and his brother Tom, who we'll see in the next weight, are making their whole team down below a lot tougher, Doug. We have reports from all across the western side of the state indicating that their 119-pounder is here as a junior, so these 2 guys are juniors. That gives them 3 back. They've got a good 126-pounder that's a freshman, so they're making their squad stronger by being good athletes and wrestling hard in practice with their
What do they do?
Teammates.
Say you better shape up, or I'm going to stick one of the brands on you?
They probably say it to themselves. You either get going or I'm not going to work with you, and it's kind of embarrassing. See him just jump off him there, try to go for more points.
All right, 7-1. That's the first point for Gazaway with only 35 seconds to go in the match. Brands wants to work on his feet. He gets single A. We're on the edge of the mat. Depends on whether he can keep him in bounds or not. Whether he can get the points. 2 for a takedown.
He doesn't quite have it yet. Still, he's trying to stay in. As soon as he steps up, he goes out of bounds.
Well, only 20 seconds to go now.
What he's trying to do is get that bigger win.
Whoa, Gazaway threw a headlock. It didn't quite work.
Just didn't have his hips down low enough, but he had the idea, didn't he?
He had to do it. So the takedown goes to Brands on a counter, and it's 9-1 now. This is where it'll end, right here.
Well, that gives him that 8-point edge which he needs to get that extra half point.
So Eagle Grove can't clinch it.
Take your leg off here.
Brad Gazaway comes up against one of the Brands. And it's 9-1 Terry Brands over Brad Gazaway at 105 pounds in the AA division. Well, we told you there was a pin at the single A class. Chad Williams of Lisbon pinned Bobby Short, but they're still going down in the AAA with about 1 minute and 13 seconds to go. So let's take a look here. You're looking at Baron Hendricks of Clinton. He is in the down position in the red. Came into this meet with a 28-1-1 record against Doug Knotik of Lewis Central, 22-3-1. And the score is Hendricks 6, Knotik 3.
We just got an escape right there for 1.
Makes it 7-3.
Well, here's another example, I'm sure, of a young athlete that has a chance to work out with somebody like Dan Knight, we were talking about earlier. You get the right idea when you go against guys like this every night in practice, so all of a sudden when you get in the finals, it's a match that seems a little easier, I'm sure, than practice every night.
Hendricks is on the right, coming back in. Hendricks of Clinton leading 7-3, and a quick takedown makes it 9-3.
And hit in there deep on that, just turned the opposite way, blocked the leg. And I'm not too sure that the Lewis Central Council Bluffs athlete Connect was ready for that.
30 seconds to go. Knotik. I didn't check with him to find out exactly how he pronounces his name. K-N-O-T-E-K. We'll go back to the old world way of saying it.
Well, he's got himself trapped right now on his back with the legs holding him and the arm pressuring him down.
Oh, 10 seconds to go.
It's possible to get pinned right here if he doesn't watch it.
It's a 2-point near fall, makes 13-3. And the state champion at AAA at 105 pounds is Baron Hendricks of Clinton. He lost only 1 this year, had 1 draw. Baron Hendricks of Clinton is the champion at 105 pounds in the AAA division. And that's what happens when you win. You're very happy. We're going to have the award ceremony now for the 98-pound class. Those are the winners on the stand.
Presenting the 98-pound awards, Class 1A, Coach Ken Fuchs of Manly North Central. 6th place, Jim Harbison, Morning Sun. 5th place, Kenny Patton, Corden, Wayne Community. 4th place, C.C. Hoffman, Sigourney. 3rd place, Travis Mead, Dyke. Runner-up, Tony Hunt, Central Decatur. And the Class 1A 98-pound champion, Matt Otten, Manly North Central.
That's a happy young man right there, isn't it?
Yes, and it's a happy coach, too. The winning coach of the winning wrestler always gets to present the awards, and that's a special pleasure, too. Now we're coming up the 98-pound class. The winners in the AA division, we watched that match, Wilcock and Stryker.
Award, Coach Doug Guilford of Starmont Strawberry Point. 6th place, Tim Struble, Missouri Valley. 5th place, Todd Frusch, LaPorte City. Fourth place, Mark Faferlick, Fort Dodge, St. Edmund. Third place, Todd Schuster, Sibley, Ocheeden. Runner-up, Brian Wilcox, Davis County, Bloomfield. And the 2A 98-pound champion, Kent Stryker, Starmont, Strawberry Point.
Well, as I mentioned, there's a freshman having a chance to get a start on that first leg of a 4-time championship.
And he's an aggressive wrestler. He makes it look like fun out there. Well, it's always fun when you're winning.
Yes.
Triple A's now 98 pounds.
Coach Phil Henning of Marshalltown. Sixth place, Tim Casey, Linmar, Marion. Fifth place, Scott Ritchie, Council Bluffs, Thomas Jefferson. Fourth place, Ben Cleveland, Indianola. Third place, Jason Worth, Spencer. Runner-up, David Schmidt, Boone. And the 3A 98-pound champion, Dave Manchin, Marshalltown.
Smile.
Well, that gets them a little closer to that championship, moves them up 4 points. So now they're only 1 point behind Charles City.
We have a 3A
title.
A good 3A race. And those are the awards at 98 pounds. We're going to go to Dean Board now for a mat report.
In Class A at 105 pounds, Chad Williams, 15-year-old sophomore from Lisbon, is the new state champion. He really took off with a 10-point lead in the first period and then came into the second period with a quick reversal and a pin with 27 seconds gone in the second period. So the champion, Chad Williams of Lisbon, over Bobby Short of Central Decatur of Leon. Doug?
And here we are at the AA, coming up at 112 pounds. We're going to have Tom Brands of Sheldon, the brother of Terry Brands, you just saw, also undefeated Tom Brands, against Centerville's Chad Zapatil, who's only lost once in 29 matches this year. Interesting to point out, too, I think, that the referee will be this year's Referee of the Year, chosen by his colleagues, Arlu Flagey of Waverly.
And I mentioned that Terry Brands from Sheldon was a defending champion. This young man, Tom Brands from Sheldon, man with the stripes down the side of his uniform.
Dark uniform.
Right, was second last year at 105, so he's moved up just like his brother. And if his brother was good on his feet as a state champion, Tom Brands has only had 1 takedown scored against him all year.
Tell you more about how he scores points in a bit. Up there in the corner, you see the 1A. That'll be between Vance Light of Lisbon, undefeated, against Matt McClenahan of Sigourney. And at AAA, it'll be Brad Brule of Fort Dodge, son of an old teammate of yours, I think, Chuck, and Gary Steffensmeyer of Fort Madison. But here we are at AA.
That Brule was not a teammate. He was an athlete that wrestled for me when I was coaching in Northern Iowa.
I can't get it.
You'll age his father right into being bald as I am.
Well, I'll tell you, we turned around, though, a minute ago. I said to CP, 12,500 people here, and show me 3 people which you don't know. And you didn't think you could do it. Takedown for Tom Brands of Sheldon over Chad Zapatil. Brands in the dark uniform, Zapatil in the red.
Still down there.
Well, Zapatil's only a sophomore. And of course, he's in here with a young man that's been to this position before, into the finals. Of course, last year, Brand's only loss was to Kelber, the young man that we've already featured as being one of the real outstanding seniors in the tournament.
And whom we'll see very shortly.
Okay, off the back, work for a
Tom Brands got to the finals by scoring, now get this, first of all, 19-4 win, technical fall over Pleganpool of West Union, and then 16-5 over Thompson of Iowa Falls, and then 19-2 over Frosch of LaPorte City.
Take it back on.
He knows exactly what he's doing, doesn't he? He's in control of this match fairly easily. In this match we're watching, Zapatil from Centerville did lose last year to Tom Brands in this tournament. Maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know as that holds very long in your memory, but when somebody's beating you 10-0, you probably have a fairly strong reminder when he starts to get on you that that he has good talent.
Notice that Brand started with that international start position and then went right into a ride.
And he used the momentum of his body being high to come on down in and jam the arm.
Use that cross face right.
End of the first period. 2-0 Brand.
Green takes both up.
Brands wants to be on his feet. That's another choice this year. You get 4 choices. There are the 1A team standings, the 2A team standings, and the 3A.
Holder.
Boy, Marshalltown's moved right in on Charles City.
I'm all right.
We'll be seeing our first Charles City wrestler here before too long. That's Brands in the dark uniform, Zappatil of Centerville.
Circle in there.
Well, each man's controlling the other man's wrist and just kind of pushing into them. You hear the referee saying you got to circle, can't just back out. There's not a lot of offensive pressure, but there's body pressure, which forces you to change your attack, kind of takes you out of what you'd like to be able to do.
Move it in. Move in.
Just did a little outside single, didn't penetrate it deep, but now he's in on one that is deep. They're awful near the edge.
Oh, they got away from the edge. So it's a 2-point takedown.
You're down there.
For Brand.
With the 2 there.
4-0. He gave him the 2.
Set there. Move on.
1 minute 17 seconds to go in the second period. 112 pounds. You're watching live on Iowa Public Television from Veterans Auditorium, the 1986 State Championship Wrestling Tournament.
Here, Tom Brands is real good on top. You see him just put a lot of pressure on young Chad Zappatil from Centerville. Tight around the waist, you know, after the arms, puts pressure on him to just knock him flat.
When he warned you got to go for a ball. You're just riding. Let's go.
Arlo Flagey warns Tom Brands for being too cautious on top.
Okay, set there. Move on.
Get one warning, you know, and next time it's a penalty point for your opponent.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me to see him if he can't tip him easily.
His hands.
I wouldn't doubt seeing him. He's got him on his back right here, but he locked his hands.
One right here. Locked hands.
A point for Zappatil. You can't lock your hands on your opponent when you're on the mat.
And this outside judge saw that also. Saw his hand come across to stop that
move. You know what? You done it? Okay.
Now it's 4-1. A little tougher match for this member of the Brands twins.
It starts to get tougher, not just because the opponent's different, but it's as they start to get bigger. You know, there's a little bit as these athletes get toward 119, 126, you start to find more of them. He's got the wrist tied up really tight. Just hard for him to turn him from the position he's in.
Down there.
Out of bounds. Only 17 seconds remain in the second period. It's 4-1.
Okay, set. Move on.
Be interested to know that at the single A division, Light of Lisbon leads his opponent 6-3. 9-3 now. And at Triple A in the Fort Dodge Fort Madison match, the score there is 13-5 in favor of Steffensmeyer of Fort Madison. And those are in the last period as well.
Right there.
There's no change there, so it still remains 4-1 going into the last period. Tom Brands from Sheldon leading.
That's Chad Zappatil of Centerville. He's had 1 point so far, and it was when his opponent locked hands.
Hey, move her up here.
Back on the feet again. They both like it up. And in on the leg goes Brands. The single leg turns it quickly into 2 points. 6-1.
Well, if he already has been warned for riding on top, it's not surprising to me if he wouldn't move off, just give him a point, start to just wrestle him on his feet. Because the man from Centerville, Chad Zappatil, is staying awful low, keeping the hips down low, really just kind of blocking him out. It's hard for him to go.
This time the warning goes against Zappatil. So neither one of them can afford to sit back.
Yeah, they've both been warned for stalling. So he's going to have to be effective here, something, or get called. Now, the bondman really isn't making any moves, so he's trying to grind him into that hip tilt position. He's got the arm tight. He's attempting to tip his back. Real difficult as long as that man on the bottom just keeps his hips basically flat to the mat.
We're in the last minute. The Brands brothers
They just intentionally let him out on that little sit out and just let him go.
Makes it 6-2. The Brands brothers of Sheldon trying to make it a family fortune night tonight. Terry Brands already won a championship at 105. Tom Brands leads by 4 with about a half a minute to go in his quest for a championship at 112.
Well, Brands hits that low-level attack. You see him back in on the leg again. And with that kind of attack, even losing a takedown in a scramble, he still won't get hurt, but he gained the takedown there, so he's now ahead 8-2. And pretty much has the match sewed up.
He's had 4 takedowns, all on that single leg.
Keep working.
He hasn't
Really in control, fairly in control most of the match.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to turn Zapatil, but it hasn't mattered. It's going to end right there. Score 8-2. State champion is Tom Brands of Sheldon High School. His coach Galen Nelson has to be pleased to have 2 such talented and committed performers.
And have them back, too.
That's right. They're only juniors. 17-year-old juniors from Sheldon High School.
You are state champion.
Well, we're going to go down to the other end of the arena now for the awards at 105 pounds, beginning with the small school class, the 1A.
Presenting the Class 1A 105-pound awards, Coach Brad Smith of Lisbon. 6th place, Rod Wilson Manson. 5th place, John McGovern Riceville. 4th place, Jeff Weiland Highland of Ainsworth Riverside. 3rd place, Eddie Lee Underwood. Runner-up, Bobby Short Central Decatur. And the Class 1A 105-pound champion from Lisbon, Chad Williams.
Chad Williams. Another in a long line of champions from the town of Lisbon.
It's just a freckle-faced little guy.
Yeah, but he's a state champion.
Bronze him and put him on my shelf. Yeah, he's a state champion. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, see, I grew up in a town right next to Lisbon, as I said, and I'm glad they got some of those kids have something to occupy themselves with instead of beating up on all us poor guys from neighboring towns. Here we go to 105 AA.
6th place, Brent Cooper, Norwalk. 5th place, Tom O'Grady, Glenwood. 4th place, David Carr, New Hampton. 3rd place, Jason Eckenrod, Van Horn, Benton Community. 2nd place, Brad Gazaway, Eagle Grove. And the Class 2A 105-pound champion from Sheldon, Terry Brands.
Terry Brands, we saw the first of the 2 brothers, the twins, to win a championship tonight at 105 pounds. I hope you realize, by the way, that I'm kidding when I talk about the Lisbon kids. We always had fun with them, and it's just amazing that so many of these small schools have, over the last 20 years, found great success in a sport that, when I was in school, didn't even exist for them. Now the big schools, the AAAs.
Casey Fleggy, Waverly Shell Rock. 5th place, Brent Lartz, Charles City. 4th place, Ken Stecker, Iowa City, City High. 3rd place, Steve James, Keokuk. 2nd place, Doug Notek, Lewis Central, Council Bluffs. And the 3A 105-pound champion from Clinton, Baron Hendricks.
Baron Hendricks won his championship tonight, and a big night for him. Let's go to Dean Board.
Well, Doug, you and Chuck talking about Lisbon. Count another one. They crowned another champion here at 112 a few minutes ago. Vance Light, who last year was 4th at 105, is the new champion at 112 pounds. He decisioned Matt McClanahan of Sigourney 9-4. Vance Light in control all the way. 2 points in the first period and added another 3 in the second, 4 more in the third. And McClanahan was on to the defensive most of the time. Dick?
Okay, Doug, there you see the champion at 112 pounds is young Steffensmeyer, Gary Steffensmeyer, who used a total of 7 near-fall tilts to win his match impressively over Brad Brule of Fort Dodge, 17-5. And a happy lad there is greeted by Coach Vic Pickford of Fort Madison. He's been here 3 times. This year he takes home the gold. Back to you, Doug.
Gentlemen, thank you. 119 pounds. We have one of our feature matches of the night because we have a chance to see a man go for his 3rd championship. But he's not going to get a cakewalk if the records mean a thing. This is Jason Kelber of State Center West Marshall High School. He's in the black uniform on the right, going against Dan Sinnott of Albia, both undefeated.
Keep it in the middle, guys.
Now, I was talking to Jason Kelber before the meet tonight, and they met in freestyle last summer, and Kelber pinned Sinnott. But he said, he really looks tough. He said, I can't believe it was that I did that. So we'll see. There is Kelber.
Well, he just stepped across him coming in. He'll use the leg to block him. Stepped right up across him. Dan Sinnott from Albia, who's down now by 2-0 to Jason Kelber from West Marshall.
There's the 1A class. That's Beachy of Marengo, Iowa Valley against Gary Hauser of Rock Valley. And up at the AAA, it's already over.
Look at that, guys. Good job.
If you can believe that. And I don't even know who won it, but there was a pin in lightning fashion at AAA. It was Helmkamp of Fort Dodge pinning Bennett of Mason City, and it had to happen in the 1st minute. So we'll check on that later on. Here, Kelber and Sinnott. There it is. Up at AAA in the corner. Well, in the match in the center here, at 2A in the black, it's Jason Kelber going to work on his undefeated opponent, leading 2-0.
You know, it's kind of a tough draw for young Dan Sinnott from Albia. Last year he made it to the finals, and his match was against Mark Schwab, who went for 4 championships and beat him in the finals. Well, this year he comes in.
Well, look at what he's done.
The finals, and he draws Jason Kelber.
Look what he's done. His first match, he won a pin in 2:58. He had a technical fall the second match, and he won his semifinal bout against an undefeated opponent, 16-0.
Well, he is an outstanding athlete. There's no question. But he's against an outstanding athlete, and that sometimes, you know, starts to cause the balance to swing the other way.
Jason Kelber of State Center.
He's moved up a couple of weights since he first saw him. When we first saw him, he was one of those little freckle-faced guys. Now he's a solid little 119-pounder.
He's a little bit high this time.
He's up around the head. Going to lose him for a takedown. Yeah, lost an escape there.
So it's 2-0 in favor of 2-1 now of Kelber. It's a 1-point award for an escape.
Hey, go talk to him.
We spend a little more time talking about how many points you get for what. Because I know that maybe you tune in to see that grandson of yours out there, and you don't see many wrestling meets maybe. Second period has just started, 2 minutes long, as was the first. They start on the feet by the choice of the man who could make it.
Keep it in there, keep it in there.
He just put his head down that time when he tried to snap him, and Kelber felt the motion, just stepped out to the outside and got a takedown.
4-1 now after 2 points for Sinnott for Kelber.
Well, Kelber's not only a winner, Doug, not only going for his 3rd state championship, but he's also a pinner. I mean, he's had, of his matches this year, 33, 34 matches. All but 6 of them have ended in falls. So he's used to putting guys on their back, winning big.
Go back, go back.
Reminds me of when 3 years ago, I remember here, Les Anderson of Iowa State. Just take a look at this first.
And here you see Sinnott from Albia start to snap down, but he puts his head down. Once his head goes down, Kelber just steps to the outside and goes past him.
Let's see what they do off the whistle here. Try for a switch by Kelber, by Sinnott.
Move off it.
As soon as you start that switch and the man has the leg block, it's hard for you to finish it. Then he can let go and come on into you.
He almost got cut on his back, too.
We're still not out of the woods if Kelber can use that scissor in the leg. Got to take away the brace arm first.
Stalemate, guys. You got to get out of there. You got to get out there and use it.
Stalemate. So I started to say, Les Anderson of Iowa State I told a few years ago about recruiting Jason Smith, who was a 2-time state champion, a 2-time national champion for Iowa State later. He asked his coach what the man's record was. He said he's something like 23-1. He said, who beat him? No, that's 23 pins and 1 decision.
Well, they're kind of wound around here backwards now. This usually ends up in a stalemate so somebody doesn't get hurt.
Right there. Potential danger, same way.
You hear the referee, who in this case is Rich Gray of St. Charles. Give him room. Stopping the wrestling.
There's a good shot of Kelber right there.
Potentially dangerous position.
See that wrist around the... No, he just reaches through, catches the wrist, pulls his arm out, and he's got his man trapped up real tight. Got to let go of that thing before the guy can grab you.
Work a fall, Tom, man. You got to work a fall off that ankle. 1, 2, 3.
Now, once he's got him broken down, now he can get out and go around the head. Got to have the hips down first.
Roll through.
Couldn't stop him. He rolled through.
But he's also going to lose him now for maybe an escape.
Oh, now Sinnott's in on the leg.
He didn't need to do that. He may lose the reversal instead.
He did. Now it's 4-3. Kelber is suddenly in a match.
Period, men.
Did that right at the end of the period. No time to score back.
4-3. Kelber leads Sinnott going into the last period.
So he's going to take down so he can try to score coming out.
Get set.
He's a very smart young man. You know, he's real high ACT, planning to go into engineering. Real high, grade point. Jason Kelber.
But Sinnott goes in on the leg. He's going to have to tip Kelber. There's no question about it.
The legs can do it. He's got a lot of length, and he knows how to do it out of the legs. And Kelber's going to have to get up off the mat. The legs hurt more than one wrestler in the wrestling career, I'll tell you that. Looks like he's high, but he's got both legs in.
4.
He may just stalemate this.
Stalemate, guys. Untangle easy.
As we've said during our coverage of college wrestling, sometimes the really good ones have the weakness on the bottom because they're not used to being there.
Cover.
If there's a place that the legs can burn you, and I mean by that, I mean score points against you. It's if you sit down there. If you know you got a legger, you've got to get out. You know, you got to hand control, get back pressure up into the guy. You have to control his hands and clear your hips out away from him.
This is Kelber against Sinnott. They're undefeated. They're wrestling for the state championship of the AA at 119, and Kelber puts some icing on the cake with a reversal. He leads 6-3.
Roll through.
In the last period.
He still doesn't have control of the hips. Now he does. You got to control the hips. If you can hold them in close, which he's doing, you see him hold those in, and the man doesn't have freedom to move.
You got to move up off that ankle. Move off there.
There's the switch started. He just blocks it. Comes right across it. Well, he didn't have the arm hooked with his leg, or he could have taken him to his back on that.
Kelber takes chances in there in that situation. He gives him that switch position.
Yes, he doesn't really care to control. He wants to pin. And you pin a lot of guys by being loose. Of course, Dan Sinnott's a good athlete. You know, he was a cross-country athlete. He ran track. He plays golf. And he does a lot of things. So
and he's in a good position to get a reversal here. But there's only 20 seconds to go in the match.
Too much pressure on the arm. He's got to flare out now. Just take his one if he can get it. And Kelber's keeping his hips in nicely. Get the reversal right at the end.
6-5. Another reversal for Sinnott. But there wasn't time. It was a good match. Kelber wins 6-5. And so becomes a 3-time state champion.
Well, they're good friends. It was a good match between them.
Leg bands.
From State Center, Iowa, West Marshall High School, a 3-time state champion, 35-0 in his senior year, Jason Kelber.
That takes his record to about 122-3 for a high school, and that's something.
That's not bad at all. We're going over to the Class 1A mat because that's the only one still going. There's still 40 seconds to go here at 119 pounds between Chad Dietze of Marengo and Iowa Valley High School and Gary Hauser of Rock Valley. Now the score here is 13-6 in favor of Dietze of Marengo.
Well, it's hard to see. It's hard to see. They haven't given us a chance to take a look at their uniform yet. We don't have a name.
Well, I look at the leg bands. The green leg band belongs to Dietze. He's actually on the bottom. The man on top is Hauser of Rock Valley. He's so far behind, he figures he has to pin his opponent, but there's not time enough to do it.
He's certainly prying on. He's going to get near fall points.
He did get a couple, but it was not enough. And the winner is Chad Dietze of Marengo, Iowa Valley, by a score of 13-8.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the award stand.
We'll hear more about that a little bit later. We're going to get the awards now for the previous weight class, which you saw wrestled a few minutes ago. 112 pounds, 98 pound, the Class A champions. Those are the top 6 place winners on the stand.
Presenting the 112-pound Class 1A awards, Coach Brad Smith of Lisbon. 6th place, Steve Phillips, Ida Grove. 5th place, Steve Thoma, Gilbertville, Don Bosco. 4th place, Phil Burrian, Iowa City, Regina. 3rd place, Keith Van Beek, Rock Rapids, Central Lyon. 2nd place, Matt McClenahan, Sigourney. And the 1A 112-pound champion from Lisbon, Vance Light.
2nd champion from Lisbon tonight. They are already locked up, the team champions in the Class A division, Lisbon. We have a pretty good fight going at AAA we'll tell you about here in just a minute. Coming up on the stand now are the 112-pound place winners in the AA division.
112-pound awards, Coach Galen Nelson of Sheldon. 6th place, Travis Frusch, LaPorte City. 5th place, Darren Snyder, New Hampton. 4th place, Todd Harper, Glenwood. 3rd place, Doug Thompson, Iowa Falls. 2nd place, Chad Zapital, Centerville. And the 2A 112-pound champion from Sheldon, Tom Brands.
He looks a lot like the last guy that won.
He sure does, doesn't he? Well, that's something their parents have had to work out, I'm sure, over the years.
Well, they certainly are good wrestlers, and they deserve a lot of credit for being back-to-back champions.
The Brands from Sheldon. Now we're at 112 pounds for the AAA division.
112-pound awards, Coach Mick Pickford of Fort Madison. 6th place, Tom Ho, Boone. 5th place, Todd Springer, Waterloo Central. 4th place, Sean Watt, Ames. 3rd place, Dan Fiala with Des Moines, West Des Moines Dowling. 2nd place, Brad Brule, Fort Dodge. The 3A 112-pound champion from Fort Madison, Gary Steffensmeyer.
The champion at AAA, proud young man from Fort Madison. Let's get a floor report from Dick Trotter.
At 119 pounds, Brent Helmkamp of Fort Dodge came out like a house of fire. A man possessed tonight as he took down his opponent, Rob Bennett of Mason City, in the first 12 seconds, then put him on his back and stunned the crowd with a 36-second fall. There you see a delighted young man from Fort Dodge who finished and qualified in '84. He was 2nd just a year ago. Tonight, a state champion. Back to you, Doug.
We're going to move up to another class. At 126, we're moving for the middle 4 weights to AAA. And our first match is going to bring us another opportunity to see somebody go for his 3rd championship. It's Dan Knight of Clinton, who has never lost in high school. His opponent is Steve Swanson of Davenport West. They both wear red, but the man on top is from Clinton. He has the stripe up the side, Dan Knight, and he is a gunner.
Well, he has a white headgear on. And the one thing that's all the people in the state should understand about Knight is that he not only tries to intimidate an athlete, he has the ability to do it.
Up in the corner, you see 1A, Patrick Wilson of Shelby against Rod Decker of East Buchanan. And at the AAA division, it'll be at the AA, it'll be Brent Jennings of Clarinda versus Stacy Rice, unbeaten Stacy Rice of Storm Lake. And our main match here through 145 will be AAA, the big schools. Knight leads in the score here 6-2 after 3 takedowns.
Well, there were quick takedowns, more or less snaps, and as I said, he likes to intimidate, but he can. He has great ability, real good hips, and has a wonderful feel for his body and his opponents.
Now it's 6-3. He's going to try to take his man down again. He won 2 pins and a major decision to get to the finals. And one of his pins was 15 seconds.
Got a bounce. Flip up.
Well, I know when I talked to the coach Morris Barnhill from Davenport West that they were going to try to have Swanson take away some of that intimidation by some longer shots, you know, some shots from out. But he's had his head down in all those shots, and Knight's just countered him by snapping and moving in behind him for the takedown.
And so as a result, Swanson is 5 points behind with half a minute to go in the first period. 8-3.
Been a bunch of those Knight brothers, as you mentioned. A couple of them have won championships, 3 championships already between Jeff and Steve. Now Dan's going for his 3rd championship tonight as well. It looks like he's fairly in control of the match.
No question about it. He is 10 points now.
Well, now when I talked to Coach Luders, who's coached for, what, 30 years of coaching, I asked him, is Dan Knight the best athlete he's coached? And he said, well, I don't want to put that kind of burden on him nor on any of the other wrestlers, but I'll tell you, I haven't seen any better. And there's a lot of recruiters here from the college ranks looking at this young man a year early because there aren't many that they've seen better either.
10-4 is the score in favor of Knight. Bob McNeil of Cedar Rapids is the official. Swanson gets a chance on top.
Well, he's a pretty good legger. You know, he works hard and puts a lot of pressure on his opponent with the legs, and that takes away some of Knight's offense by keeping him down on the mat. If he can put the legs on him here, maybe burn him with a tilt or a forced pry.
Stalemate.
This is not the first meeting between these 2 athletes, by the way, Doug. They're just up and down the road from each other 25, 30 miles. In the course of their careers, they've already met each other maybe 10, 12 times, with Knight, of course, winning all of them since he's undefeated.
Knight is out this time. Swanson does make a single leg shot. Get a chance to see Knight counter now, and he did.
Well, he blocks the motion, then he takes him out of position. You know, gets his head and shoulders down and out away from his base. Then he starts to come back in on the tap.
Heel pick. Went for the far ankle. Gets another takedown, makes it 13-4. Now, that's a 9-point difference. We have a minute to go in the second period. 13-5 now after the escape, the let up.
He comes back in on that leg. Now, this time he got to his feet. Comes right in behind him. Sets that down low, so that takes him down to the bat.
Very cute little counter there by Dan Knight of Clinton, and he comes away with a 15-5 lead.
So he has the leg up. Swanson has the leg up. He just sets right in behind him, drops real low so he doesn't hurt the knee. Catches away down by the ankle, pulls with the wizard, pulls his man down, scores the takedown.
10-point lead with a lot of time left in the second period. So it's conceivable that Knight could get up into the technical fall area here fairly fast. If you have 15 points more than your opponent, the match is stopped. And it's the same as a pin.
I think Swanson's doing too good a job of just blocking off on the bottom. You know, he's not going to let him turn him over. He's not going to give him anything. So Knight just releases him, goes back to takedowns.
15-6. 20 seconds to go. Second period. AAA division. Now Knight has a single leg.
They call that running the pipe in Oklahoma, where they hand pipe out of the oil fields to each other. Just pull that leg in between and step back. Takes a man down to his rear end.
Knight took a chance, hoping that he could toss his man to his back, and was willing to settle for the escape. He has a 10-point lead, 17-7 in favor of Knight over Swanson of Davenport West. That's the end of the second period. And now Knight goes on top.
Russell's fairly wide open, so it puts a little bit of pressure on him and his opponent to keep this kind of intensity up. Now Swanson's picked his hands off. You can see him controlling the hands. He needs to be able to pull back into him, get his head and chest upright, control the hands, and then score his escape.
Keep working it, keep working it.
There you see him start to get up, but he doesn't have a foot out to replace his head. His head right now is the brace. When he gets a back pressure back into him, he's got to be able to put a foot out there. Then he can start to stand.
Well, Knight has been dominating with these takedowns.
so far.
He's just moving out in front now to let him go intentionally.
17-8 is the score. 9-point lead for Knight, the man. They both have red uniforms, but Knight has the vertical stripe. He's from Clinton, going for his 3rd state championship as a junior. Through 119 pounds, Charles City has a 1-point lead over Marshalltown in the AAA division, and Fort Dodge is only 4 points behind. So there's a lot to be decided yet.
But Fort Dodge is done. Their wrestlers are done now. So what they've got to do now is maybe scramble for 3rd. Whoever can come up behind him and catch him. Maybe a Clinton, and Knight wins here.
Well, we'll see Rick Caldwell come up from Marshalltown at the next race. There's a takedown for Knight again.
Well, see, this is for 3rd as a team. If Knight can get a technical fall, it can move them up so that they can bypass Fort Dodge and end up 3rd.
They're going too fast for the scoreboard now. I don't even know what the score is. There's another one with 30 seconds to go.
Well, the board hasn't kept up, but I'll tell you, he has to have a technical fall here pretty soon. See, it looks like he's trying to embarrass him, but what he's trying to do is get the technical fall, because right now they're 72.5 with Fort Dodge at 77.5. That's a 5 points. If he scores a technical fall, he gets 6 for his team, moves him into 3rd place.
All right, we're going to stop here and go find out what the score is. The scoreboard has 27-11, which would be a technical fall. Bob McNeil went to check. And it may very well be.
You're down, son.
No, it's not.
I don't think that's right.
27 to...
They have 27 to 12, and that's 15.
Now they're going to have another discussion.
You see, you have to admire that young man for doing what he's doing. A lot of people would think, well, that's Bush because he's far superior. But he just did technical fall his opponent, which gives them 2 additional points plus the 4 for getting 1st, which moves them into that 3rd place as a team.
And so Steve Knight does win his 3rd championship, still stands in line to become a 4-time state champion if he can come back next year and do it again. That's at 126 pounds. And we still have a little bit to go in our AA match at 126 pounds between Brent Jennings of Clarinda and Stacy Rice of Storm Lake. Just a few seconds to go. The score is 11-9 in favor of Rice.
Well, that's a freshman winning his 1st leg.
How about that? In the green, Stacy Rice of Storm Lake. The AA division as a freshman. That's not very often to see a 126-pound freshman win.
No, not too often. They're usually down below. We've already had 2 freshmen win tonight. Stacy's is the 2nd.
And we had our 1A match and 2 at 126. Let's get the awards now for 119. We'll catch up on what we missed a little bit later. Here are the 6th place winners in the 1A class,
presenting the
119.
Class 1A awards, Coach Joe Loftus of Marengo, Iowa Valley. 6th place, Marvin Hildreth, Mondamon, West Harrison. 5th place, Damon Sloop, Hamburg. 4th place, Troy Keeker, Fredericksburg. 3rd place, Kurt Bonsack, Traer, North Pima. 2nd place, Gary Hauser, Rock Valley. And the 1A 119-pound champion from Marengo, Iowa Valley, Chad Dietz.
Chad Dietz, 1A champion. And a happy young man, as you might expect. We're still in the AAA wrestling classes through 145 pounds. We told you we have Marshalltown's team coming up with Rick Caldwell against Bill Wilson of Ankeny. Stay tuned. Here are the AA winners at 119.
Marshall. 6th place, Tom Judish, Sumner. 5th place, Bill Bowman, West Union, North Fayette. 4th place, Jack Stewart, Perry. 3rd place, Tracy Tucker, Spirit Lake. 2nd place, Dan Sinnott, Albia. And a 2A 119-pound champion from State Center, West Marshall, Jason Kelberg.
For the 3rd time, he's at the top step.
Isn't that something?
You betcha.
Lots of us just like to come down and watch.
Yeah, we got to stand on the floor at a distance and look up there and see those people on the top step. Jason Kelberg. We still have the awards for the AAA at 130, 126, at 119.
Sixth place, Chuck Johnson, Des Moines Hoover. Fifth place, Chuck Capola, West Des Moines Dowling. Fourth place, Dave Lindeman, Cedar Rapids Prairie. Third place, Mark Hamilton, Waterloo East. Second place, Rob Bennett, Mason City. And a 3A 119-pound champion from Fort Dodge, Brent Helmkamp.
Say, he almost broke a sweat tonight.
Well, what was it? 36 seconds.
Let's go to Dean Board.
Well, Doug Rod Decker of East Buchanan at Winthrop knows what it's like to be a champion. He was a champion here last year at 119, and he repeated again. He defeated Patrick Wilson of Shelby Tennant 14-6. Actually had a big second period in which he piled up 9 points and then went on to win it 14-6. Rod Decker, the new champ, 126 in 1A. Doug?
Okay, Dean. Here is a new name for you to remember. He is just a freshman, and he is the state champion in Class 2A at 126 from Storm Lake, Stacy Rice. Remember that name. There he is, a young man who won an 11-9 decision over Brent Jennings of Clarinda in a super match, 11-9, Stacy Rice.
And he's also a pretty good jumper there, too, I can see. If it had the pit on the other end, they might have measured that one. Let's go back to Dean Board for an interview.
Well, here's a young man you saw a few minutes ago, Dan Knight of Clinton, finished an unbeaten season. Congratulations, Dan.
Thanks very much.
I didn't get to see your match. I was watching the 1A mat, but you had a tough one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was very hard to turn over, so I had to let him out and try to take him down on my feet because I wasn't getting anywhere down below.
I know that Doug Brown and Glenn Patton watched your match. They may want me to ask a question or two, and they'll tell me if they do. But what did you have to do in that match?
Well, he was really good controlling my hands. I couldn't work his arms or anything. So Clinton kind of needs the points if we want to get up there, and we needed either a technical fall or a fall. And so if I was going to get that, I had to let him up and try to take him down.
Congratulations. We'll see you getting that gold medal in the first few minutes.
Well, thanks a lot.
Doug?
Thank you, Dean. Here we go now. AAA at 132 pounds. Rick Caldwell of Marshalltown. It's an important match because Marshalltown's trying for a state championship against Bill Wilson of Ankeny. And Marshalltown is in the red. In the black, in the dark uniform, Ankeny. On the right, Bill Wilson. On other matches, you're going to see up in the corner, 1A, that's Chris Hupke of Cherokee, Washington, against Randy Marlin of Creston for the state title. And at the AA level, I gave you the wrong one there. It was Vince Miller against Mike Spading, and at AA, Chris Hupke against Randy Marlin, Cherokee, Washington against Creston. The Plainfield and Belle Plaine teams are in action at 132 in 1A.
Let's go.
As you indicated, this is an interesting match for Marshalltown because they're in a fight for the state championship as a team. And young Rick Caldwell from Marshalltown has wrestled Wilson from Ankeny twice and lost to him this year. Once very close, 7-6, and that was early in the year. So things have to change around for Marshalltown now in order to be able to get that.
Sometimes you have to believe, as you often say. And it looked like he had an awfully good position, but he wasn't able to finish that takedown.
He's got to be able to think it through and then visualize it through before he does it.
Marshalltown has one other wrestler coming up at 167, Aaron Chambers. And we have wrestlers from Charles City yet to come out too. They're in this. Charles City is actually on top.
Well, they're on top close. And if Caldwell probably has a forte, it might be that he's really good on the top position. And I would imagine Wilson from Ankeny, if he has a strength, it's probably here in his feet.
All right, let's go.
So you see Caldwell might be taking away Wilson from Ankeny's strength by just not getting taken down. And we'll see if that's the strategy.
2-minute periods, and we're almost all the way through the first one without a score.
3 seconds, gentlemen.
You're following the 2A match. It does appear that Randy Marlin has piled up a big lead already over Chris Hupke. Preston,
choice.
Randy Marlin. That's that close score. 3A. Marshalltown has a man here. They have a man yet to come at 67. We haven't seen either of the Charles City finalists.
Here we go.
Second period, and Wilson of Ankeny starts on top. There's no score.
Well, he knows how to do the tilts. You know, you can see that arm deep around the waist. If he can get that arm, that's how he does the tilts. You see him, got him trapped up there. I don't know if he got two.
No. Referee Don Crandall of Oskaloosa signals no near fall.
But it's one of those ones where, you know, when they get that really quick like that, you got to be on the right side. You see him here and pull him back. He's going to try to lift with the leg in behind.
Nope.
He's catching the top leg instead of the bottom one. That way you tip the hips with the toe. And he's given the escape right there.
So Wilson takes the lead. Caldwell takes the lead 1-0. Caldwell of Marshalltown.
Well, this may be falling into the area, as I mentioned. I don't know. Depends on whether Caldwell from Marshalltown will take standing or try to take the down position next time. Once you get the 1-point lead, you know, and there's no riding time, it's funny how things start to become strategy. Here he's in deep. Got to finish it now.
Wilson's in very deep. Still doesn't have the takedown.
See, as long as he keeps that locked around the waist, there's still no takedown. So he's going to just try to roll back easy, exposed man's back. Wilson from Ankeny, he's just going to try to lift the legs easy. Since that didn't work, now he's going to try to cut loose and lock him with his foot.
You got that? He's got it hooked over there.
Now he scores.
Takedown.
There's the takedown, and that makes it 2-1 in favor of Wilson.
Well, see, that starts to change the strategy around now, too. Put a lot of pressure on me. As I said, he's good in the hip tilt. He's got the deep waist. He can crush the inside arm and pull him into him. He got a chance to get him for 2 more.
Oh. Did he get caught in the middle of that move?
Started the move, guys.
Bob Sharp, the Ankeny coach, wanted a near fall out of that one.
I don't know. I don't know if the period ended right up there on top.
Red goes down.
That's why he didn't get that. But if he did keep him there for any length of time and the period wouldn't have ended, it's not inconceivable. But
well, Caldwell, excuse me for interrupting there, CP. I just noticed that, as you said, Caldwell is strong on top. He trails by a point, and he's going to try to get it on top.
He feels comfortable there.
He thinks he can tilt Wilson. So we'll see.
Here we go.
Well, the problem with this is if the opponent gets out, now you trail by 2. You have to get a takedown to tie. But he's good with the legs. You know, he puts that far side half on, tries to pry. And you can see here the pry is the elbow in the back of the neck. The other arm that comes under is the one that's lifting up on the arm.
The man on top has to get a point somewhere. And the only way he can get it from this position is to turn Wilson over on his back.
That man, get off the side. Let's go.
The only way.
He's talking about trying to, you hear the referee saying get out to the side. He's doing what he knows how to do to turn him over. He doesn't want to get out to the side. He wants to tie him up first and control arms and then get out to the side.
All right, set. Offense, here we go.
But he doesn't have time to stop and explain that to the referee.
No.
Wilson gets to his feet.
Well, you know when he's behind and he takes the top that he feels comfortable here. So he's putting himself in a spot where he knows best what he can do. You see now, as he tries to pull the arm in, now he'll let go of the legs and try to get out and use that arm against his opponent.
But now he lost the arm. Time is important here. 50 seconds to go.
Start to get careless now when you're a legger and you don't have much time to work. That's when you start to get careless and get a little high.
Man, you're not getting off the side. You got wrapping those legs in. You got to use them.
And it's 2-1. Wilson of Ankeny in the black on the bottom, leading. State championship match at 132 pounds, AAA. Here comes Wilson.
Well, now he's reversed it, caught the leg, Here's that little elevator roll. He just tries to catch it right there with his leg.
Marshalltown needs this to stay in the team chase.
He's got a deep chicken wing on him now.
Use it.
He's got to get out to the side, block an arm on the opposite side in order to be able to make that thing effective.
We have 20 seconds to go here. It's 132 pounds.
Let's go, offense.
Live from Veterans Auditorium. It's the State Wrestling Championship.
Same way.
Referee calls a stalemate with 14 seconds to go. Bill Wilson of Ankeny leads Caldwell by 3 and has the position of advantage.
Offense, here we go.
Bill Garner is the referee from New Hampton.
He's got him stopped now. He could whip him here if he can get his foot on the mat. Oh, lost it. So he's going to have to go back to the switches.
And it will end here. It's going to be a 4-1 win for the new state champion at 132 pounds, Bill Wilson of Ankeny.
Here we go, gentlemen.
So
Good
Marshalltown
job.
trying to catch Charles City in the team chase, falls just a little short.
Oh, that's one that the Charles City people probably breathe a sigh of relief.
So it looks as if Charles City has to just win one of those two now. AAA winner, Bill Wilson of Ankeny. Let's get the winners now at 126 pounds, first of all, in the Class A division.
6th place, Lamont Schmid, Kingsley Pearson. 5th place, Kwong Van Lo, Rock Valley. 4th place, Brian Even, Gilbertville, Don Bosco. 3rd place, Jerry Ackerman, Clarksville. 2nd place, Patrick Wilson, Shelby Tennant. And the Class 1A 126-pound champion from Winthrop, East Buchanan, Rod Decker.
Rod Decker of East Buchanan is the state champion at his weights. 12,500 people here, a sellout crowd at Veterans Auditorium, and possibly the most people, we didn't have an exact figure, but it seemed like close to 60,000 was what Dave Hardy told me. Perhaps the biggest set of crowds ever to watch a whole tournament. AA at 126, the champions.
Hagen. 5th place, Dave Messerly, Eagle Grove. 4th place, Brent Karstensen, Comanche. 3rd place, Darren Jones, Iowa Falls. 2nd place, Brent Jennings, Clarinda. And the Class 2A 126-pound champion from Storm Lake, Stacy Rice.
A freshman.
On his way, isn't he?
You just keep turning them out, you know, in this state. Terrific wrestlers, all kinds of programs. It's in the AA division. It's fun to see that new face every year, you know, or 2 or 3 or 4.
And after about the 4th year, you wonder, when is this guy going to get out of here? This is an opponent.
6th place, Troy Johnson, Webster City. 5th place, A.T. Arneson, Bettendorf. 4th place, Dean DeGiacomo, Waterloo West. 3rd place, Tim Anderson, West Des Moines Dowling. 2nd place, Steve Swanson, Davenport West. And the 3A 126-pound champion from Clinton, Dan Knight.
Undefeated in his entire high school career. One of the best records ever in high school wrestling in the state. He's a 3-time champion. He'll be back next year. They're going to have to get a crowbar to get that smile off his face.
And to get him out of here, that's what I said.
Let's get a floor report from Dean Borg.
I don't know about that crowbar. May have to use that on Vince Miller, too. He's from Plainfield. He's been here twice before. Never got beyond the qualifying round before at 119 and 126. This year wrestling in 1A at 132. He's the new champion. Came in here unbeaten. Tonight he decisioned Mike Spalding of Belle Plaine 8-2. The champion Vince Miller at 132 in Class A. Now Dick Trotter.
Okay, Doug, in the 132 pounds 2A division, the champion Randy Marlin, he won it with a technical fall with 38 seconds remaining, and there's a very happy lad from Creston. Right now, I've got an even happier lad, I think. In 1983, he was 3rd place. In 84, he was 1st, and for the last 2 years, he's been 1st. Jason Kelber, a state setter at West Marshall. Jason, how many from West Marshall are down here tonight?
Well, there's a whole gang here. They got 2 of us wrestling.
I think Grandma and Grandpa, too.
Yeah, everybody's here.
How did you feel about going out in that match tonight? Are you a little bit nervous?
Yeah, I was getting nervous.
I don't know. Even if it's not a tough match, I'm always nervous.
Another three-time state champion. There aren't too many of them, but here's one tonight, Jason Kelber of West Marshall. Thanks much, Jason. Good luck to you. Back to you, Doug.
Now we're going to 138 pounds, and we're going to see the Iowa City Championship here, because it's West High's Tony Newsel against City High's Pat Waters, both from Iowa City. Referee is Mike Exline of Charles City, and the man in the dark uniform on the left is Tony Newsel of West High School. In the red uniform, it's City High's Pat Waters, who is undefeated this year.
Stalemate. Stalemate. Let's go, men. Let's go.
Waters is a big pinner, and Newsel's real good on his feet. It should be quite a contrast.
Up at the 1A level, we'll have Todd Luther of Semco High School of Gilman against Randy Kittleson of St. Ansgar. And that's for the state championship below 1A. And at AA, it's Doug Stryker. We saw his brother a while ago win a championship. He's from Starmont from Strawberry Point, undefeated against Steve Hamilton of Emmitsburg. And Emmitsburg's Steve Hamilton is a defending champion, as I recall.
That's right.
But here we are at AAA, 138 pounds.
Warning!
Just as he warned him, Pat Waters got a 2-point takedown.
Well, here's where he's very good. He's pinned his way through this tournament, and he's got 25 of his 30 matches have ended in falls already this year. Here he is on top getting another one, at least near fall points.
Now, he's not going to stick him with that, but he'll
Three back!
He got 3 back points, and it makes it 5-zip.
Well, he has a feel for what he has to do when he's in those pin situations.
Pat Waters.
He's a real versatile young man. He plays in a swing choir, a band at school, has a band of his own, runs in the cross-country team. You know, has a real high 3.637 grade point. Besides being a good athlete, I mean, 25 out of 30 falls says something, doesn't it?
Yep.
Steady.
Watch him take it.
Here's a nice head
duck
under. Yes, good duck under. You don't see a lot of duck unders anymore. Real good duck under for a takedown. He's still on top. You see how he controls that wrist.
And he has a few good wrestlers to watch in Iowa City from time to time if he feels like.
It's odd these guys have never wrestled each other. All the time they've been in the same town, they've never wrestled each other.
Is that right? Pat Waters in the red leads 7-0 over that man, Tony Newsel of West High.
Neutral.
And we're going to start the second period. We're going to start up on the feet.
Well, I think this is probably Tony Newsel's decision because he feels good in his feet, even though Waters got that first duck under to score the takedown. This is the spot where Newsel feels fairly comfortable. Now his brother Newsel's, the young man there on the right side of the screen in the dark green uniform, his brother Ed Newsel was a state champion for Iowa City Regina a number of years ago. As long as he keeps that arm, there's still no control. See Waters trying to step over with his leg to take it away. It's going to be a stalemate.
Newsel got a pin in his first match against a Des Moines East wrestler. And then he had 2 very close ones. He won a 1-point decision over Bertrand of Webster City and had to go to overtime to beat Lovell of Marshalltown in the semifinals. Score now is still 7-0. Waters had a decision and then 2 straight falls over Lynch of Charles City and Velvick of Cedar Rapids Prairie to get into this final round.
Well, those are 2 real outstanding athletes, too, to pin. I think Lynch was a state runner-up last year.
And the year before.
Come on.
Well, Nugel had a knee surgery right about Christmas time. Hurt his knee, and the only match he lost all year was at an injury default. And it's been most of the year just trying to come back and recover. He's in the fireman's carry position, and Waters is just locking him out. Has the arm extended, stretched out. This is how you get taken down right here. You're out of position.
Center.
Both a little cautious at this point, it would seem. 7-0 is the score in favor of Waters, the man in the light uniform, in the red.
And Nugel has to open up. He's got to go to his throws. He's down by 7 points. He's going to have to do something that'll take his opponent to the
That's
back.
you. Red, that's you. That's one.
Warning
Just
against
got-
Waters.
just
They
got
both were
penalized.
warned. They were
Right.
both warned, and so that's a point. 7-1 now.
Center, red.
Well, you say they're wrestling a little cautious. That's probably because Waters doesn't want to be in here with him right now.
Got to try and circle in. Got to try and circle in.
Mike Exline, you've seen him referee on our college wrestling series, too.
Time, men. Time, men.
That's the end of the second period. Now we're going to go to the third. Score is 7-1 in favor of Waters
Red down.
of City High.
Here's the team stand. As you can see how far Lisbon is out ahead of everybody to win it. But it's very close. You can see the teams in there: Sigourney, Britt, Central Decatur. And here's the 2As. You can see Eagle Grove's out there by about 9.5. And then it's Emmetsburg, Sheldon down a little ways, but West Marshall State Center coming in for a possible chance to get third.
And Emmetsburg has a wrestler on the mat right now. Here is Nugel on top. Waters on his back.
Well, they caught him in a headlock. And he's going to get not only near fall, I don't know how many.
2.
One neutral. One neutral. One.
So it's 8-5. That's the kind of thing you were suggesting that Waters didn't want to come in and have to face.
Right, so he gave him an escape right there, and then Nugel got a takedown, so that runs the score back now 9-7.
And it's close.
No. Break.
Potentially dangerous, and Waters
One injury time.
could
you
be
down.
hurting. His shoulder
You're
was
down.
hurt.
Go.
Well, good comeback for Tony Nugel.
You bet. He's a very physical young man. You can see
Now green.
in a position right now where he's got to get a tilt. Can't afford to let his man get out, or a takedown to the back will have to. There's about a minute to go.
Nugel of West High, Iowa City, loads up. Waters. No, we couldn't keep him.
And all the way through. He does have the wrist. Now here's Waters sitting down underneath him. Not very conventional, but he has a good feel for his hips and comes out to score his escape. Here's where you get thrown. He doesn't want to be in that upper body. Nugel wants him to get in that upper body where he can get a 4-point move.
So now it's 10-7 with only about 30 seconds to go. Tell you what, I think the state championship hopes of Emmetsburg just went a glimmering, because another striker of Starmont is a winner in the AA. We'll tell you about that a little bit later, but we just noticed that Stryker has just defeated Steve Hamilton of Emmetsburg. And Emmetsburg had to win that match in order to have any chance for a team title.
Waters has to stay in right here. The referee's already warned him for stalling once.
That's you. This man won. You're tying him up. You're tying him up.
10-8, a takedown is all the difference here.
Well, he's been penalized twice now, so he's just saying you're tying him up. So now he just spins in behind him on that little wild shot. That gives him the lead. Not much time left.
12-8, and now in the near fall position, Waters. That'll
going to get near falls too.
15-8, and it ends right there. So they each had their chances.
They certainly did.
Super match, gentlemen.
Nice to see Patrick come back.
Good job.
And so the championship of Iowa City goes to Pat Waters, as well as the championship of the state of Iowa at 138 pounds AAA division. He defeats Tony Nugel in a good match, 15-8.
I think Tony's coach, Tom Lepick, was a state runner-up wrestling for Clyde Bean, Pat Waters' coach, way back when.
And that happened at AAA. Now, the only one still going at the 138-pound class is in 1A. Todd Luther of Semco against Randy Kittleson of St. Ansgar. And the score is 6-3 here in favor of Luther of Semco.
Well, they're just starting the last period, and he's in a position where he just got reversed. I think, and near fall points against him as well.
We'll see. Kittleson is in the black. 2 makes it 6-5.
And 2 more for a near fall makes it 7-6.
And that's a change. Kittleson of St. Ansgar. Now he has Luther in right where Luther wants him.
Well, I think he's already had him on his back for another near fall, so the score now goes 9-6 in favor of Kettleson from St. Ansgar.
9-6 is the score.
But he had his legs wrapped around there, and I'm sure that he had them locked in a figure 4, which is, I think, illegal. I'm not sure. We couldn't see it very clearly, and there's blood all over, so we'll find out here.
Good nosebleed, a big nosebleed here for Luther of Simcoe. And that's why it stopped. There's a minute and 15 seconds to go. They're way behind the other matches. And I don't know whether it's because this nosebleed has been there before. Or
I would imagine. You know, time can go indefinitely as long as there's blood. You know, you're not restricted to the 2-minute injury time when somebody's bleeding.
We always say that pretty hard to fake blood. They do it in the movies, but you can't do it very well out in the mat.
Well, with that penalty point now, it moves the score 9-7 in favor of Randy Kittleson from St. Ansgar over Todd Luther from Gilman Simcoe.
So the St. Ansgar wrestler comes back out. Long and lanky, 138-pounder Kittleson. The referee is Jim Christensen of Greenfield.
Almost caught him there before he was quite ready. You know, that back popped his head up in the air, trying to give him the nosebleed back the other way, maybe. Well, he's up high, but he's under the arm. He's up high on top of his opponent. He's going to try to get him in another tip. Now, this is a dangerous place for Todd Luther to try to counter him out by flipping his hips across, because when you get caught, you automatically get 2 against you because you've been stopped. So you trade the reversal for the near fall. So he's trying to hop his hips over there.
2. He did give him the 2 back points. So now it's 11-7.
It's a tough way to beat that thing. You know, when a man takes the arm away, you're in a lot of trouble. Same, pull the arm in again. If he raises his hips up, then he'll cut under the hips and pull him up into the tilt again. See there, the hips are high, and he's trying to just step over top of that. Did you get tipped on your back doing that? If he stops you in there.
We have 14 seconds, 13. He did get 2 points for near fall. 13-7.
All it means is stopped. It doesn't mean held there. It looks like it's cheap, and that's what a lot of coaches call it, but the rules are interpreted to say is he exposing his back.
And it ends right there with a 13-7 come from behind victory by Randy Kittleson of St. Ansgar at 1A, 138 pounds. He's the state champion. Let's get the awards now for 132 pounds in the 1A division.
Presenting the Class 1A 132-pound awards, Coach Gary Weber of Plainfield. 6th place, Troy Christensen, Northwood, Kensett. 5th place, Tim Garrels, Keosauqua, Van Buren. 4th place, Dave Murray, Liberty Center, Southeast Warren. 3rd place, Barry Barron, Iowa School for the Deaf, Council Bluffs. 2nd place, Mike Spading, Belle Plaine. And the Class 1A 132-pound champion from Plainfield, Vince Miller.
Vince Miller, the winner. 132. He had an 8-2 decision in his final match over Mike Spading of Belle Plaine. As the 132-pound AA winners come up, we'll remind you that we'll have the 145s in the AAA wrestling next.
6th place, Mike Greco, Jefferson. 5th place, Rick Coltvet, Eagle Grove. 4th place, Ted Fox, Osage. 3rd place, Mike Marino, Glenwood. 2nd place, Chris Hupke, Cherokee, Washington. The 2A 132-pound champion from Creston, Randy Marlin.
He won big, too, with a technical fall over Chris Hupke.
Randy Marlin of the AA's. And we'll come up with the AAA's here in just a moment. Our next match, by the way, is Rick Novak of Cedar Rapids Prairie against Terry Dunley of Waterloo, Columbus. Novak is undefeated, and you'll get to see him try for a championship tonight.
32-pound awards, Coach Bob Sharp of Ankeny. Sixth place, Josh Wilson, West Des Moines Valley. Fifth place, Ken Ganson, Epworth, Western Dubuque. Fourth place, Matt Doyle, Cedar Falls. Third place, Travis Young, Indianola. Second place, Rick Caldwell, Marshalltown. And the Class 3A 132-pound champion from Ankeny, Bill Wilson.
Bill Wilson, 4-1 winner over Caldwell. Now let's hear from you, Dick Trotter.
Okay, Doug, thank you very much. In the 138-pound Class AA action tonight, Doug Stryker of Starmont Strawberry Point was a man possessed as he came out and staged a big upset over Steve Hamilton of Emmetsburg. There you see Stryker right after his match as he defeated Hamilton 7-2. In the match, Stryker had the first takedown, and then he had Hamilton on his back. The important thing to remember here is that Steve Hamilton last year was a first-place finisher at 126, and he was fourth at 1984. So a big upset. And now back to you, Doug.
And even as important as that, it cost Emmetsburg their chance to win a state championship. I don't believe they can catch Eagle Grove anymore.
No, they're put them in a tough spot now.
Now we're at 145 pounds, and we're still covering the AAAs. From 155 through heavyweight, we'll be with the 1A class in this 3-year rotation, which is decided by the Iowa High School Athletic Association to give all the school sizes, weight classes equal billing. It's Rick Novak, who's had a thundering year for Cedar Rapids Prairie, against Terry Dunley of Waterloo Columbus. Now, we'll try to separate them for you so you can see who's who. For Waterloo Columbus, it's in the green on the left with the horizontal stripe. In the black uniform, the all-black uniform, that's Novak of Prairie. In 1A, at 145 pounds, we'll be trying to follow Lane Billings. We told you about him. He's going for his second championship from Norris Springs against Keith Slipka of Grundy Center. And at AA, Mark Ryland of Eagle Grove. They'll win the state championship. They have to know it by now. Facing Kurt Hayek of Cedar Rapids LaSalle. Now let's watch Novak and Dunley.
Well, Novak is very good on his feet. That's his strength. And Coach Kimball likes him there. He's in his 7th year, and he's had a series of good wrestlers come out of Prairie High School. He knows what that takes. He's had almost 140 takedowns this year in his matches, so he is good on his feet. And on the other hand, Terry Dunley from Waterloo Columbus is a real good mat wrestler. He's a scrapper kind of wrestler. People, you ask somebody, what does he do really well, and they say everything. You know, he just doesn't have one real forte, but he just won't quit. He's always in there staying after you.
Some awfully good wrestlers went to Cedar Rapids Prairie High School. I'm thinking of Barry Davis.
Yeah, the Zaleski
brothers. One of whom is at this meet. I see Lenny here just before tonight's round started.
Well, I think Dunley's done a good job so far of taking away Novak's high crotch moves. You saw him right there counter it and maybe get a takedown. Yeah. Yes, he did come down and put his hand on the mat, but he countered his high crotch there, but pulling his leg out, snapping him down, going right behind him. So here you see Novak try to high crotch him. But Dunley felt it coming. He just spun out behind. As soon as he got in that position, referee gave him 2.
So Dunley leads by 1 now after the escape, 2-1. He let Novak up.
Stay in there. Don't walk with your head.
We don't have much time left in the first period, about 15 seconds.
He's kind of taking away his offense right here by putting his back to the edge and his head in there. You know, if the referee lets him, he probably will continue. Dunley's one of those real versatile athletes that we all hope for. You know, he played football, was both a running back and a defensive back for him on that playoff team that Columbus had this year. He's got real academic interest, carries over a 3.5 grade point.
Red will be first.
2-1 score. We're starting in the second period. Novak gets his choice and goes down. He's protecting an undefeated record this year.
He wants to get back to where it's 2-2. After giving up that takedown, he wants to score his own point here and does.
Easy, 2-2.
Good quick stand-up. Popped his hips up out of there.
Easy man, easy man.
Shouldn't belittle it by calling it easy. He made it look easy.
He made it look easy. He really put his hips out, up and out. Did the right thing.
Novak has blocked Dunley's shots.
Both blocking, fellas. Both just blocking.
But Dunley's been the aggressor here in the last couple of minutes.
Right, you hear the referee reiterate, you know, you're just blocking, fellas.
Yeah, Novak's been able to put his head in there and underhook and keep Dunley off his legs. But it is 2-2 here with about a minute and a half. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Just blocking here. Block with your head.
Just put a warning on him.
Next time it's a point for the opponent.
Terry Dunley's putting a lot of pressure into him here from that tie-up position. Novak's trying to run around him and just, you know, get in behind him. He did that. Get that done.
4-2 now. 2 points for a takedown.
Check it out.
Did it doesn't sound very good, does it, Doug? He did get it done. That's what I was trying to get out when he was running around behind him there.
I always thought "dude it" was a pretty good way to say that.
Now Novak has some ability here. Well, he's going to just intentionally release him.
Well, Novak feels confident on his feet now.
Easy.
Well, he made his takedown off of Dunley's mistake. Dunley kind of got trapped in there.
4-3.
See if he can generate one on his own here.
We're in the last minute of the second period, 145 pounds. And there is proof that Novak knew what he was thinking about when he went after that up position.
He's getting back in that 6-3 lead now.
6-4 after the escape. Iowa High School Wrestling Championships, live on Iowa Public Television from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines. I'm Doug Brown with CP Chuck Patton, former head coach at the University of Northern Iowa for many years. Now a well-known fisherman from Washington.
Not getting to do much of that now. This is good steelhead season.
Orange or green.
Out of bounds. 6-4 in favor of the man in the green, in the dark uniform, the black. It was Rick Novak. 32 and zip this year.
Well, just caught him in coming with his nose down. Almost took him down in that. He's in a headlock position right here with that arm buried up there deep. You want to be careful of the pressure in that spot.
Good choice.
At the end of the second period, here are the team standings again. You see Emmitsburg 9.5 points behind, but they have only one wrestler left.
Right, and they can't catch Eagle Grove, who's got it won now.
But we'll have to check to see what chances other people have at third and fourth. Sheldon and Starmont may have gone all the way out.
Yeah, they may have used up all their athletes. We'll have to look that out.
That is Terry Dunley of Waterloo, Columbus. In the down position, he trails by 2, starting the last period, 2 minutes long. He's given the escape at 6-5.
But a takedown now put him out in front, won't it? It's a dangerous game playing it like this that Rick Novak is doing. You know, he's giving up those points because even though he's superior on his feet or feels that he is, that can turn around and bite you almost any time.
Easy.
Well, we just had a pin, by the way, in single A at 145. Lane Billings is the state champion for the second year in a row. We'll hear more about that. And Mark Ryland won from Eagle Grove.
Easy.
So the state champion team will be Eagle Grove, and Mark Ryland makes his father, the coach, very happy. We haven't decided this one yet. It's only a 1-point lead. There's a minute and a half to go. A point is given to Dunley.
Well, he got in nice on a high crotch. Now follows it well with his head, gets his hips in, takes him to the mat.
8-6. That woke Novak up.
Right, it sure did. Now he's going to try to get into a tip. He's got the arm trap. No, it didn't. Decided not to.
Work now.
Novak leads 8-6. We have exactly a minute to go at 145 AAA.
He's right in the wrist, but he hasn't really pulled him into it. I don't know how hard the referee will be on him in this position. He wants to keep him down there, I'm sure.
Slightly less than a minute to go. 145 pounds. Fit.
He's going to intentionally release him again.
8-7 is the score.
So he almost got taken down, or he did get taken down early on with that same little high crotch type of move. And
we have a half a minute to go, and it isn't decided by any means.
Well, Terry Donnelly's really hanging in there very good. You know, he's one of 9 brothers and 3 sisters in the family. He knows how to have a scrabble, doesn't he? A lot of courage. There's a deep shot in there by Rick Novak. He's got him blocked off with the hips. There's the duck under finish.
And that one locks it up, I think. It's 10-7 now. Novak feels confident on his feet, and he's been able to make his points there after an early takedown. The first takedown went to Dunlay. But there's the end of the match. A 3-point win for an undefeated wrestler, the new state champion at 145 pounds in the AAA division, the big school division, Cedar Rapids Prairie's Rick Novak. Hand in the air. Now let's have the awards for 138-pound wrestlers. And again, we start with the smaller schools, the single A.
Presenting the Class 1A 138-pound awards, Coach Kirby Moses of St. Ansgar. 6th place, Rod Oviatt, Logan Magnolia. 5th place, Harold Barnes, Eddyville. 4th place, Robert Furch, Conrad, BCL. 3rd place, Patrick Salto, Riceville. 2nd place, Todd Luther, Gilman, Semco. And Class 1A 138-pound champion from St. Ansgar, Randy Kittleson.
1A champion. He came from behind, too. We saw that last part of his match against Todd Luther of Semco. And won 13-7. When we tuned into his match, what was the score? Something like 7-4?
He was down the other way, yeah.
Now the winners at Double A.
Point. 6th place, Jeff Koenig, West Liberty. 5th place, Neil Erickson, Mediapolis. 4th place, Terry Kelly, Van Horn, Benton Community. 3rd place, Sean Voigt, Mount Vernon. 2nd place, Steve Hamilton, Emmitsburg. And the Class 2A 138-pound champion from Starmont, Strawberry Point, Doug Streicher.
There's a successful family tonight, too, huh?
You bet. That's a couple of those brothers that we've seen win from different families.
And this one, Vita, one-time state champion. 7-2. We go up to AAA now at 138 pounds. In our next round of wrestling, we'll be at the 1A level, by the way, coming up. Stay tuned.
6th place, Chad Belvick, Cedar Rapids Prairie. 5th place, Alan Lovell, Marshalltown. 4th place, Bill Bertrand, Webster City. 3rd place, Rick Lynch, Charles City. 2nd place, Tony Newsel, Iowa City West. And the 3A 138-pound champion from Iowa City, City High, Pat Waters.
He had a tough go with his crosstown rival, but managed to win 15-7 tonight. Let's get a floor report from Dean Board.
Well, Doug and Chuck, another second-time champion here. Last year, Lane Billings of Norris Springs Rock Falls was champion at 138. Tonight, he's champion at 145. At 28 seconds into the 3rd period, he caught Keith Slipcup, Grundy Center, in a cradle. And there you see what happened. A fall, 132 left in the 3rd period. So the champion, Lane Billings, 145 in Class A. Dick?
Well, Dean, in the Class AA action, Marv Ryland, it plays like father, like son. The son of Coach Marv Ryland of Eagle Grove, the new state champion. He won by technical fall with 1 minute 41 seconds left in the match over Kurt Hayek of Cedar Rapids, LaSalle. There was no question what was going to happen right after the match started. It was 8-0, 14-0 at the end of the second period. Your new champion, Mark Ryland. Now back to you, Doug.
From 155 through the heavyweight, we're going to be watching the 1A matches. And tonight we have Chris Charlie of Janesville at 155 pounds against Mike Kelly of Britt. Now, Britt can't win. Lisbon is locked up, #1, but Britt, I believe, has a shot for second place. And so it's important to the team what Kelly does. Britt has won this state championship before.
Yes, they're an old hand at winning it.
Up in the corner, the AA match, Dave Youthy of Osage wrestling Jim Geyer of North Fayette, West Union. And in the AAA, it's Bob Thompson of Ames, undefeated this year, wrestling Kyle Wedeking of Charles City. That's the first chance we've had to see a Charles City wrestler. They lead in the team score and are hoping to lock up their first state championship.
We'll keep everybody apprised of that, how it's going. As we watch this match, this is going to be one that's important to Britt to be able to get them back in someplace in that scoring in the single A.
Britt is in the red uniform, the light uniform. Maybe you're watching in black and white. And Janesville has the dark, the black with the yellow stripe up the leg and a big J right in the front. Chris Charlie, 30-1 this year. Won 3 decisions to get to the finals, and so did Mike Kelly.
Well, Kelly's only loss was to Colvette, a place winner from Eagle Grove in the AA. And he, of course, has been in this tournament before. In fact, he was hurt last year by Freese, the state champion from Des Moines Dowling, and dislocated his elbow, so he missed most of the year.
Referee John Monroe of Indianola has warned both men for inactivity, being too cautious in the beginning. Now they know they stand to lose points if it happens again.
When they get locked in this kind of position, it's hard for either man to go ahead and go. The tilts and the Kelly types of actions are there.
Stalemate, back in. Open warning.
No score. 2-minute first period, and it's almost over.
Move it in.
Well, Charlie knows how to go 6 minutes. Chris Charlie from Janesville has kind of a history of being a real hard wrestler, go the whole route. He's going to have to with a guy like Mike Kelly, because he comes out of one of the wrestling families that are famous in the Britt area. You know, they've had, I think, a brother Jeff that was a 2-time state champion, and another brother that placed for him, Tim. There's even 3 younger brothers coming.
Kelly of Britt had the choice, but he deferred, and Charlie of Janesville took down here in the second period.
Well, he's got that arm free right away, and he's got Kelly down underneath him. Now it's a matter of being able to keep your arm free and control hips. Now he's going to lose that arm if he lets him have it. Doesn't want to do that. You got to be able to get your body up on top.
Go down.
Kelly, of course, wants to chop that arm and pull him down into the tilt position.
Okay, top man.
Kelly tried to put the leg in, couldn't do it.
He's missed both shots on it. Chris Charlie did a nice job there of blocking off the legs, blocking off the spirals, getting to his feet. Just ran out of room on the edge.
Charlie beat Lyndon Van Rayden of Plainfield. He beat Greg Hong of George by 1 point, and then in semis he beat Griffin of Lorenz Marathon.
He's doing a good job here of controlling his body, keeping back to his feet, and keeping his arms free. Kelly, of course, is doing everything he can to get that guy back down to the mat.
Well, Kelly won a decision over Prohaska of Alden, and then Adam of Packwood.
False start,
and then he beat Mark Ortman of Lisbon.
You hold that elbow,
but
son. You
some
move right
people
over.
thought it was an upset.
Set, please.
5-4 in the semifinals to get here.
So he's back to his feet again. He has his arms free. That's what Kelly has to do, is to keep him down. He's got to be able to control an arm. He's getting the legs in, trying to. Now that he's got him in, we'll see how well Chris Charlie from Janesville reacts to the legs and what Mike Kelly from Britt can do with them.
Might be interesting to know that up at the AAA level, where Charles City is hoping to pick up the first win with Kyle Wedeking, Bob Thompson of Ames, undefeated, has racked up a 6-1 lead in the second period over Wedeking. Just got a near fall. There's no score here. Kelly has ridden all the way through the second period, a minute and about 20 seconds so far, and there was no score in the first period.
He has both legs in, but he can't punch him out straight, can't knock him down and get him off his base, so can't be effective now. He's a little too high, but he did, once he gets him down, then he becomes effective there.
There's the first point. John Monroe says that Kelly has to come off that position.
Okay, come on in.
Well, that's Coach De Leon right there, and you just saw Coach Mortimer on the other bench, so it'll be interesting to see now what they do, because he's taken away that ride position that he likes with the legs.
Back in here.
It's a tough tussle here between two.
Step, please.
Wrestlers have shown no signs of slacking off here so far. There's one of the most successful coaches in Iowa high schools in the last years, Al De Leon of Britt.
Man just has been penalized for being in this position too much, and he gets in it real tough. And the referee starts to count right away. So he's going to make it his responsibility to get out of there.
You have your choice, Red. Red takes down.
So Kelly will take down to try to get that point back. He's down 1-0 on the penalty point. He was hoping he could ride out through the second period and escape for the win, maybe.
Right. Well, he's a good pinner.
Okay, son.
I'm sure that he just isn't accustomed to somebody being able to counter him out or block him off with legs that effectively.
Now Charlie, who did such a good job on the bottom, even if he didn't escape, he's in the position of advantage, out on the side, controlling the arm.
He's got that wrist really winged tight. Kelly did a nice job of winging that down, trying to drive his hips into him. Just reacted to it well. Chris Charlie from Janesville shown a lot of natural talent, being able to feel his body and his opponent's pressure.
He leads 1-0. When you hear the official count like that, he's telling somebody, do something different.
That's right. We're not too sure. We're not too sure. Sometimes he doesn't designate which one he's saying, do something different. He just starts to count.
And probably the wrestlers aren't either.
Yeah, and of course the coaches can't do anything about it, so it's just a matter of wait and see which one's he going to get on.
Third period, 1-0, and Charlie leads. He's on top. Chris Charlie of Janesville over Mike Kelly of Britt.
Those guys stop with the arm around the waist and the leg trapped up.
Both men, one each way. Gentlemen, neither one of you are doing much. You're going to have to flatten him out and try to pin him. You're going to have to get up.
Well, it's even now because there was a penalty point against Charlie on the top. He's tough on those guys. The referee's tough on the guy on top.
Okay, top man, come on in.
Well, they penalized both of them, so it's still
That's right.
It's still 2-1.
You're right.
There's the wing, and he stepped across it. Caught him on that inside, stepped right across it.
And so Kelly takes the lead. 3-2 with the reversal.
Now he's got a half and a deep waist.
We have 45 seconds to go.
Back in, gentlemen. I know it.
John Monroe of Indianola has shown an impatience here as an official for...
Watch him wing this. Now watch him wing. Here he pulls it down, steps up, comes right across for the reversal.
Your next stalling is 1.
Picture perfect.
You're okay.
John Monroe is telling the man that what will happen if they get caught stalling again. And he's been very tough on the man on top. So Kelly can't afford to let up. He leads 3-2.
And he stopped him that time, put him back down to the mat by using the leg. Just probably doesn't want to stay there too long.
No. 22 seconds to go. That man leads. We're going for a state championship here at 155 pounds. Charlie.
There's a little sit-out by Charlie, and of course, Kelly's right in a spiral now where he uses the half and the inside the thighs, just press into him.
Let's go, gentlemen. Keep it moving.
He's definitely in a good position to get this
As long as he keeps that arm across there and keeps working at it.
And he did. Mike Kelly of Brett, the winner by 1 point, 3-2 over Chris Charlie of Janesville in the state championship match at 155 pounds, 1A division. His coach Al DeLeon jumped straight up in the air after he saw that one. And there they are, coach and wrestler. Let's have the awards now at 145 pounds, beginning as always with the 1A, the smaller schools.
Presenting the Class 1A 145-pound awards, Coach Dick Kruger of Norris Springs, Rock Falls. 6th place, Brian Krob, Lisbon. 5th place, Tim Dorr, Belmont. 4th place, Randy Hamus, Sigourney. 3rd place, Dwight Sorensen, Janesville. 2nd place, Keith Slifka, Grundy Center. And the 1A 145-pound champion from Rock Springs, Norris Springs, Lane Billings.
We featured Lane in the pre-tournament show at the beginning, and he came through as we expected him to.
Looks like he warranted that attention.
Lane Billings winning his 2nd championship is from Norris Springs, Rock Falls High School. He beat Keith Slifka of Grundy Center on a pin. Now double A at 145.
Coach Marv Ryland of Eagle Grove. 6th place, Steve Weirs, Wapsie Valley, Fairbank. 5th place, Mike Kramer, Dyersville, Beckman. 4th place, Tim McGran, Centerville. 3rd place, Dan Gleason, Solon. 2nd place, Kurt Hayek, Cedar Rapids, LaSalle. And the 2A 145-pound champion from Eagle Grove, Mark Ryland.
Father and son. Coach's son, Mark Ryland there.
Probably a coach's dream, isn't it?
You bet. When that young man was born, I suppose there were a lot of jokes about, oh yeah, here's another state champion coming along, right? Well, sometimes it comes true. We're going to the Triple A's now at 145.
In the Class 3A 145-pound awards, Coach Jim Kimball of Cedar Rapids Prairie. 6th place, Brett Messerly, Ottumwa. 5th place, Keith Priest, West Des Moines Valley. 4th place, Victor Allen, Waterloo Central. 3rd place, Ron McCutcheon, Fort Dodge. 2nd place, Terry Dunley, Waterloo, Columbus. And the 3A 145-pound champion from Cedar Rapids Prairie, Ricky Novak.
He had a tough match, but he came through a season undefeated and state champion at 145 pounds for Cedar Rapids Prairie. Let's get a floor report from Dean Board.
Well, Doug and Chuck, I watched the 155-pound match and the double-A match this time. And the new champion there is Jim Geyer of North Fayette West Union. He just completely dominated all the way. He was wrestling Dave Youthy of Osage, both seniors. He won 9-0 over Dave Youthy. The champion then, Jim Geyer, on 2A at 155.
Last year, Bob Thompson of Ames finished 2nd, make that 3rd at 145. This year, he's going home with the gold medal. And there you see a very excited lad, as he absolutely gave a wrestling clinic tonight to Kyle Wedeking of Charles City, winning 12-0. Bob Thompson, the state champion from Ames, at 155. Back to you, Doug.
Boy, look at that score, 12-1. And that has some ramifications in the team score. Charles City is leading by 1 point, but they weren't able to pull away. They have one wrestler yet to come, Charles City, but Kyle Wedeking was a loser there. Marshalltown has a man coming at 167, and Sindlinger will wrestle heavyweight for Charles City, so they're not decided yet. Let's go to 167 pounds. We'll be watching the 1A match between Brian Benning of Ackley, Geneva, and John Corey of Coon Rapids. Corey is undefeated. He was a champion 2 years ago. Corey is on the left with the vertical stripe and a dark green uniform. Benning of Ackley, Geneva, who's 31-3 to this point this year, is in the purple. Up at 2A, it's Mark Friesner of Esterville in the corner there against Eric Eggers of State Center, another undefeated wrestler for the West Marshall team. And at AAA, it'll be Bart Chelsvig of Webster City, who's one of the real junior prospects here. This is one of the scouts that come to see, and he's only an 11th grader, against Aaron Chambers of Marshalltown. And Marshalltown could take the lead in the team score if they could get somebody past Chelsvig.
They need this match, don't they? Well, the one we're going to watch is going to be of interest to us because John Corey, the man from Coon Rapids there with the stripe that you see, was a state champion 2 years ago. And then last year came back, got 5th. So he's coming back now trying to win. And he said, the referee right there, you saw him, said he'd been warned for backing off.
So he came right in on the leg.
He countered with a takedown of his own against Brian Benning from Ackley, Geneva.
That's 2-0.
Well, John Corey from Coon Rapids has a lot more length than Brian Benning. Brian Benning's sort of a short, stocky 167-pounder. He's only a sophomore, and sometimes when you don't have that length, you know, and you're not accustomed to being in there, that can really work to a disadvantage.
Corey of Coon Rapids undefeated in 33 matches this year. He got to the finals with 3 one-sided victories, 9-0 in his first match, 6-0 in his second, and 12-4 over previously undefeated Pat Kelly of Britt in the semifinal round.
Well, he's pretty good on the top position. Of course, Benning has a strength that's on his feet. He prefers to be back up on his feet if he can get there. And Corey's trying to keep him down. I believe that's the end of the first period.
And the score is 2-0 in favor of Corey.
Ready first, green down. Either way, son.
Benning sets up in the bottom.
Don't forget your stalling warning. Let's go. Let's go.
Referee is Don Holmes of Benton.
That match we were talking about for the possible team championship with Marshalltown in it, Chelsvig from Webster City is now leading 7-1 with about a minute to go in the second period.
So they can't. Neither one of those two teams, Charles City and Marshalltown, has won a match in the finals yet.
No, it's stayed. Well, Marshalltown won that early one.
Won the early one.
Won the first one. Now here you see Coon Rapids catching him on his back. John Corey just didn't get him over far enough, but he's still in the leg. As long as he keeps that thigh, he can continue to drive that and keep Benning from Ackley, Geneva from affecting any kind of offense. As long as he stays in between the legs and keeps pressure into him, Benning, all Benning can do is keep him going to his back. Now he's caught him toward his back, but still not enough to. There's an elbow down. As soon as those elbows go down, you get 2 near fall points.
Saw the referee signal to the bench that there are 2 points of the man in control. He now leads 4-0.
See here, it's nice. Inside the crotch, lifts up on the leg, drives the arm over. You look at the elbow. See, as soon as that elbow goes down, there's the other one. As soon as those elbows touch, then it's 2 points near fall. That's the distance that they're looking for. So now John Corey from Coon Rapids is leading 4-0. And controlling hard on top. Really has Brian Benning from Ackley, Geneva all wrapped up, controlling the arms and the legs, keeping a lot of pressure on him.
Use that arm or get off him. Let's go. Let's go underneath. Face up.
Chelsvig from Eagle Grove in that AAA match now is leading 14-2 at the end of the second period.
Underneath now, action.
So cuts Marshalltown's chances of getting that win that they need to get a state championship for their team.
And that 2A match between Friesner of Esterville and Eggers of West Marshall is very close in the second period. It's 2-0 in favor of Eggers. And we're here at 1A between Benning and Corey.
Remember now, you both have been warned, gentlemen. Let's cover.
So the Ackley Geneva coach,
right?
Charles Montgomery is head coach.
There's only seconds left in this period. Both wrestlers have been warned, as you heard the referee Don Holmes say.
End of the period, 4-0 in favor of Corey. He's dominated so far.
So it's your choice.
A technical fall has finally ended that AAA match. Chelsvig
Your choice.
prevents Marshalltown from going into first place.
Well, that's something that Chelsvig's moved from 145 all the way to 167 and gone from AA to AAA. So he must be a real outstanding athlete.
That's what we keep hearing. He's one of those people.
One of those gifts, isn't he?
Yep. And a lot of them juniors. Here we are, third period at the 1A level. The man in the purple on the left is down by 4 and has to think of something.
But he likes to be on his feet. He feels comfortable here, but he's going to have to get not just the normal takedown route now. He's going to have to be able to get takedown to the back, or he's going to have to get John Corey warned for stalling a couple times. There's a quick snap down. Spin in behind for 2-point takedown.
So it's 6-0. That's what happens when you feel you have to make those long shots. Way out. He overextended himself, and Corey leads by a half dozen.
So it's more food for the concept of developing good offensive position and posture all the time through fundamentals. Got to be able to go in there with your head and chest up in the air and your hips in underneath. John Corey is doing a good job of keeping young Brian Benning, who's only a sophomore. He's keeping him off balance. He's just never letting him get set up. You know, he doesn't let him find him. He's always chopping on him,
Let's go.
controlling the wrist, putting pressure on him.
Corey was a champion, as we said, 2 years ago, and then had to settle for 5th last time.
Take him down.
And he's not going to settle for 5th now. You know, he's going to settle for 2nd if he keeps wrestling like this. He's been very aggressive in this match.
Inside, gentlemen.
We have just a few seconds left. 11. In fact,
Get that, son.
we're settled at
Just relax. He's going to tie his shoe.
3A level,
Just
we
relax.
said.
Take
We
your
told
time.
you.
Ready?
And there are not very many seconds left at AA. We'll see how close we get to the end before when this match is over.
They stopped him, and now he's picked the knee just in order to try to stay with him, driving in and to and through him. The match is going to end 6-0.
He's absolutely dominated Benning on top.
Nicely done.
And Brian Benning, only a sophomore, I'm sure he'll be back. But Corey wins his 2nd championship. Coon Rapids wrestler. He goes 34-0 in his senior year to win the state title again. John Corey. There are about 12 seconds to go in the AA match, where the score is 5-0 in favor of Eric Eggers of West Marshall over Esterville's Mark Friesner. And we're seeing just the last few seconds here with the victor, Eric Eggers, getting no back points.
But he does win, and that gives West Marshall another champion. Gives them 4 more points and moves them up in there in that team race.
And they go through with 2 undefeated wrestlers this year, Kelber and Eggers. Let's give the awards to the wrestlers now at 155 pounds, beginning with the 1A.
Presenting the Class 1A 155-pound awards, Coach Al DeLeon of Britt. 6th place, Chris Prochaska, Alden. 5th place, Dan Griffin, Lorenz Marathon. 4th place, Greg Hoying, George. 3rd place, Mark Ortman, Lisbon. 2nd place, Chris Charlie, Janesville. And the 1A 155-pound champion from Britt, Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly did a good job. He had a close match with Charlie. 3-2 was the score, if you remember. And so Britt takes home at least one individual championship. if not the team title. Here are the 2A winners at 155.
Sixth place, Mike Geisler, Hudson. Fifth place, Rich Lowe, Emmetsburg. Fourth place, Todd Pettit, Creston. Third place, Shad Thomason, Eagle Grove. Second place, Dave Youthy, Osage. And the 2A 155-pound champion from North Fayette, West Union, Jim Geyer.
Only one loss this year, but Jim Geyer, and he's happy to report that it wasn't in the state tournament. He is a big winner tonight. There's part of the 12,500 size crowd that filled Veterans Auditorium tonight for this state championship. The winners going up on the stand now are the top 6 place winners at 155 pounds for AAA.
Jack Minden, Hall of Ames. Sixth place, Mark Brooker, Newton. Fifth place, Paul Arthur, Cedar Rapids, Jefferson. Fourth place, Neil Schleichman, Fort Dodge. Third place, Tom Schminke, Lewis Central, Council Bluffs. Second place, Kyle Wedeking, Charles City. And the 3A 155-pound champion from Abe's, Bob Thompson.
Bob Thompson.
Had a great year, didn't he?
He certainly did. Good young man. Bob Thompson of Ames. He went 28-0 this year and won his championship match by a bundle. Well, let's go up to 185 now. See what happens. But first, let's get a floor report from Dean Borg.
In Class 2A at 167 pounds, Eric Eggers of West Marshall at State Center came into tonight's championship match unbeaten. He still is. He's the new state champion at that weight. He defeated Mark Friesner of Esterville 5-0. Dick?
Okay, Dean, at 3A at 167 pounds, we will have possibility of a 3-time state champion. Bart Chelsvig of Webster City won tonight at 167, and last year he won it at 145. He still has another year. Chelsvig looking very impressive as he got the takedown, the near fall early in the match, and went on to win 17-2. That, of course, is a technical fall, and you can see how excited that young man is, and all of Webster City is excited for him as well. Back to you, Doug.
And how strong he looks, too. He's one of Vern Hill's wrestlers, and we've heard a lot about him. Chelsvig of Webster City will be back again next year for his senior year. Now let's go to 185. We'll watch the 1A match between Don Finch of Britt and undefeated Barney Drent of Central Lions. He's from Rock Rapids. So Britt has a possibility of another champion here. In the red, it's Don Finch of Britt against Barney Drent of Rock Rapids Central Lions. In a moment, we'll show you who's in the other matches, who the wrestlers are at AA and AAA too. There's in the corner is AA Rod Lyman of Tama, South Tama, against Tracy Allen of Mount Vernon. They're going at it in AA. AAA, Kevin Tan of Cedar Rapids, Washington, wrestles Greg Herber of Dubuque Wahlert. And we'll keep our eye on all those matches for you. Takedown for John Finch of Britt.
You know, Don's good on top. You know, he's a good legger, and he does a lot of effective turning with that. This is his first time coming down to state, but he had a brother here with him, 132-pounder that was here wrestling. Another one of the families of wrestlers from Britt. He's pretty good. If he gets the legs in, he's pretty good with what we call a head and a pry. You know, he'll get the leg on one side, and then he'll start to push the head down with the back of one arm and come under the other arm, pry up on it, try to put pressure on his opponent in order to turn him to his back.
Okay. The 185-pound class, actually at this time of year, because of the way high school rules are, and understandably and intelligently they're more liberal than the prep collegiate rules are, these men can actually weigh at this time of the year 6 pounds more than the limit.
Right, they're given poundage as the year goes along. They give them a little bit of weight so that they call it a growth allowance. As the young men gradually grow, they give him a couple more pounds. There he's going to get a near fall out of this. He's got the arm blocked, the hips loaded.
He's in good position and leads 2-0 with that.
Well, it's hard to imagine that you can only lead 2-0. You have to have a takedown. You have to have a takedown somehow. He's got him on his back again. So they need to square away the score.
Now that has to make it
7 instead of 5.
I should think. Scoreboard still has 5, and I don't believe
Now
it.
you can see on 1A how it started to change. Britt's moved out 1.5 points ahead of Sigourney. Of course, we have a wrestler we're watching right now. So that's close. Britt's moved into second place ahead of him.
Looks like Britt is going to wrap second place up, too, because some of the others aren't going to be showing up anymore.
Well, I would think that Coach De Leon, you never want to give away points when you got them, and he got the takedown, and then had 2 near falls.
Don't just tie the arm up.
I still don't understand the score any more than you do, CP, here. They have it 5-0.
We'll just go with it, but we think that they should have 2 more. Now, Barney Drenth from Central Lions has had his hands full here in the bottom. You know, he's a good athlete. He's got good ability. He's fairly good on top himself, but so far he's got taken down early, and now there's been all kinds of pressure on him by Don Finch from Britt with the legs, using them to turn him toward the back, which has put him in a real hole as far as being able to score. Now he's got that chicken wing on one side and a half on the other. Now if he can kick out of here and start to load up with his hips, he'll just pull the man back and dump him, have him right on his back. Got to come out across.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
It's a real tough spot to get caught in. It doesn't look like much until the guy starts to rock backwards on you. Well, when he does, you're in a lot of trouble.
This is a tough spot for Barney Drenth. He's managed to bridge up a little bit. Now the reverse half from Finch. He has a half a minute to clamp it.
There's a lot of people who would like to make this call from the stands, but there's a couple of guys down there 3 feet away that have a better view of it than anybody else. This is the one where they all say, "Oh, you blew it, ref."
Well, in high school, you have to hold for two seconds. 3-point near fall is the period.
1 point.
Well, let's
Illegal
see.
hold. You came around something. Headlock.
Illegal hold.
Illegal headlock. What? You got to have the arm in and a headlock.
What he called him for was he had him on his back in a 3-point near fall, held him there, and then when he was trying to bridge up, he reached around and locked his hands without having an arm included. You must have an arm included in order to make a headlock legal.
Only 1 point. It's 8-1, but at least Drenth gets new life. He comes out of a near fall situation. Now he's going to go right back into one again.
Without much time.
Man, he's tough on top.
He thinks he can now.
Is that right?
End of the second period, and it's 10-1. And Barney Drenth is going to have to get himself together here.
What are you going to do, son?
He's suddenly down by 9, and Drenth wants to start on his feet.
He certainly wouldn't want to be in that down position anymore with a guy like that on top of him. He's a coachable young man. His coach May told him that, when you're in this position, you've got to be able to go back to the thing you do best, try to go for 4 or 5 points.
Aiming for has his head under there like for a fireman's carry, then settles for a double leg. He might be able to get it.
I'm not sure that Finch, when he tried to throw that, didn't come down and land and knock the wind out of himself. Hit himself in the head.
Timeout.
And he's right here now. He's going to try to throw it. He's going to use his hips. But when he comes down, I think he comes down and lands right in his face, knocks himself half silly. Saw his head bounce right there. Now, normally in this position, if he would have been alert, he might have been able to step over, but as it was. Barney Drenth got the takedown with a minute and a half to go. Finch is ahead 10-3 and down.
185 pounds in Class A.
Straight set, let's go. Move in.
We have the heavyweights coming next, and then the super heavyweights after that. The super heavyweight match will be in the AAA division. And the 185ers are still going at it here. We'll be telling you about what happened in the other match, too, from our floor reporters here in just a bit.
Well, a conventional win will not do it for Barney Drenth, so he has to go to something that will score lots of points.
Such as the headlock that he just tried.
Well, see, they didn't record a point for that either, so
no.
Well, now they finally put it up, but I still believe that the score should be 2 more, even though we'll settle with 11-3.
Back.
Somehow we missed that first takedown.
That's the mystery takedown.
Keep it in here, guys.
Well, because it's close enough to a superior decision. Oh, it's a double leg all the way deep,
but he missed the trip. He tried to get the inside trip. Now he goes to the outside trip instead. And Drenth is just real tired. You saw his coach, Hank Grant, sitting there earlier, just pondering, how the heck did this happen? Get beat up so bad on this thing.
Well, he had to expend a lot of energy on the bottom when he was bridging for dear life to keep from getting pinned.
That's right. Now here's going to try to pull him up, just pull him straight back and rock him into a near fall position right there. Until that's happened to you, you don't really understand what's going to take place either. You feel like you're in pretty good position, and all of a sudden the guy just picks you up, pulls you straight over backward.
That's it. Well, as a matter of fact, they did rack up the 2 points mysteriously appeared on the board at the end. At the end. 15-3. The winner is Don Finch of Britt. He's the second state champion for Britt. He'll be back next year. He's only a junior. Britt solidifies and clinches its hold on second place, clinches second in the 1A running. Now we're going down to the awards at 167 pounds. But we still have a match going on at AAA level, just wrapping up. The winner, Greg Herber of Dubuque-Wahlert, 5-2 over Kevin Tan of Cedar Rapids, Washington. We were just in time to see the victor's hands go in the air and the old victory salute. Known from time immemorial. Here is the 167 award group at the Class A level.
Presenting the Class 1A 167-pound awards, Coach Rick Sadell of Coon Rapids. 6th place, Greg Butteris, Lisbon. 5th place, Kirby Skull, Linville Sully. 4th place, Doug Effner, Bondurant Farrar. 3rd place, Pat Kelly, Britt. 2nd place, Brian Benning, Ackley, Geneva. And the Class 1A 167-pound champion from Coon Rapids, John Corey.
Second title for John Corey. He won it the first time 2 years ago. Was 5th in his junior season. John Corey, 6-0 winner over Brian Benning of Ackley, Geneva in his championship match here at Veterans Auditorium tonight. You're watching on Iowa Public Television live. The what year is it? 1986, as I recall. Well, we're a couple of months in. I ought to be able to get it by now.
State Center, West Marshall.
Championships of wrestling.
6th place, Rodney Sharp, Clarinda. 5th place, Tom Birchmeyer, Shenandoah. 4th place, Dan Fossey, Denver. 3rd place, Stacy Hand, Tama, South Tama County. 2nd place, Mark Priestner, Esterville. And the 2A 167-pound champion from State Center, West Marshall, Eric Eggers.
He was the second champion from West Marshall. Neither he nor Kelber lost a match this year. And Eggers wasn't even scored on in the finals. He was a 5-0 winner over Friesner of Eskerville. We're coming up to the AAA top 6.
Well, that win for State Center put them into 3rd place ahead of Sheldon, so that was an important win for them.
6th place, Brian Wolf Bettendorf. 5th place, Craig Wilwarding, Lewis Central Council Bluffs. 4th place, Larry Mosina, West Des Moines Dowling. 3rd place, Kurt Rosenberger, West Des Moines Valley. 2nd place, Aaron Chambers, Marshalltown. And the 3A 167-pound champion from Webster City, Bart Chelsvig.
He is a dandy.
He is, and only a junior. Well, we missed a couple of those 185-pound matches. Let's catch up on them. First from Dean Board.
Well, in 2A, Chuck, at 185 pounds, last year, Tracy Allen of Mount Vernon placed 2nd at 185 pounds. This year, he apparently said he wanted to be state champion, and it was one of the closest matches I've watched tonight. Going into the 3rd period, Allen was trailing 3-2. But then with a key reversal in the 3rd period, he won 4-3, defeating Rod Lyman of South Tama. Dick Trotter, how did it go on your match?
In Class 3A competition, Dean, Greg Herber of Dubuque-Waldert wrestled a very methodical match to defeat Kevin Tan of Cedar Rapids Regis make that Cedar Rapids Washington by the margin of 5-2. It was a big win for Herber, who was 4th a year ago. Now back to you, Doug.
We're at the heavyweight level now. We have an undefeated heavyweight from Lorenz, Todd Jackson from Lorenz Marathon, wrestling against Mike Meyer of Belmont in our 1A class match we're going to be following. We will, however, keep an eye on that big match up at the AAA level, because Charles City has its 2nd wrestler in, and Charles City, Matt Singlinger is wrestling against Paul Welfa of Ames, and Charles City is hoping to add to its lead, which is a 1-point team lead over Marshalltown right now. And Marshalltown won't make a difference now. That's right. Charles City's going to win it because Marshalltown had to get one there at 167, and didn't. You see the 2A level, Paul Wildman of Cherokee, Washington, George Moorhead of Winterset.
Well, we may hurry here.
We're losing a pin here as we watch, huh?
Yes.
Let's follow this, and then we'll go up to the corner.
See Belmont on his back already. Todd Jackson from Lawrence Marathon's already thrown him to his back.
And in really serious trouble.
He just keeps making the adjustments. He's got the arm trapped up, and he just keeps making the adjustments back and forth. And Mike Meyer from Belmont just can't, as long as that arm is trapped, can't make the move to get free.
Really in there tight now. That's it.
It certainly is.
Number 1, Todd Jackson of Lorenz Marathon, the winner by a fall. At the 1A level over Mike Meyer of Belmont, he wins a state championship. Happy young man.
We didn't get to see much of that. Just a quick throw and same position for about a minute, and it's over.
Well, there it is. We got a good shot of the referee as he calls this match. Bang. Well, you know what's happening behind him. There's no room between the bottom man's shoulders and the mat. Well, since we ended so early, we have a chance to go watch another match. So let's go to AAA. Matt Singlinger of Charles City against Paul Welfa of Ames. Each school has a black uniform. Started out with a 5-point move, I believe, by Sindlinger of Charles City. He had a takedown and I think 3 back points. And Welfa of Ames has just come back on a reversal, making it 5-2. And Welfa is in the top position. Looks like Charles City is the state champion team.
Well, it's the first one ever for that town, and rich tradition of wrestling.
Sindlinger.
Well, he's down now, and Welfa's really got a lot of pressure on him. Well, he's got him tied up with the arm up in front, starting to drive him toward the leg. That's the cradle position that he's after.
Cross-face cradle. Sindlinger, that's a familiar name, too.
Yes, his brother was a 3-time state champion wrestling. for Charles City.
And is wrestling tonight and tomorrow in the Big Ten Championships for Iowa.
Well, he's a center on their football team now. Young Singlinger here, Matt. Looks like he got maybe scraped in the eye or the lip.
They grow them big there in the Sindlinger family. His coach is Nick Hobbs. Jack Mendenhall is the Ames coach. Ames already has one state champion, Bob Thompson, at 155 pounds. Caution.
I don't know who that was against. I saw him hold his hand up in the air, but I don't know who the caution was against.
I don't either.
Well, he's blocked the arm on the whistle. You know, that start, when you take that arm away, oftentimes takes the hips with it because the man gets extended. So it takes a little bit of energy to draw the hips back up, get your knees under you.
Welf is on top in this position, but Sindlinger's warned for stalling on the bottom.
Well, he just did a nice rear lift. When they took him up into the air, he changed directions real quick and spun him down. And Welf is putting a lot of pressure on young Matt Sindlinger here. Going to have to build himself back up, get to his feet, or the referee will be back on him for stalling. Okay, so he just called the top man for stalling.
Well, they're even now.
Yeah, now they're even.
5-2, but you see Welfa on top hasn't been able to put Sindlinger over on for any back points, and that's what he needs.
He's taking that arm away in a jam. What's happening is maybe he's not getting him over, but he's wearing him out.
Crossface.
He spends a lot of energy here in the bottom, and he's putting that crossface on. To make that real effective, the man's got to get way out in front, anchor the outside of the leg, and drive him back to it. Can't pull the leg to the head. It's too powerful. So he's in this position. He's got to post the outside leg with a hand, then run out around the head and drive his head back down to the leg. You got to want to do that. You know, you got to want to get him over. That means you got to give up that rear safety position back there. Go ahead and take it.
We're in the last 30 seconds of the second period. It's 5-2 score. And as far as we can tell, each man has been warned for inactivity. This is the AAA division of the heavyweight class. We have one class yet to go, the super heavyweights, and we'll be following the AAAs there to start with. Jeff Koppel of Urbandale involved in that one.
Well, he got to his feet that time, tried to wing roll him, you know, tried to reach back with his elbow, catch that wing. Just didn't get back down under him enough to make the roll effective. There's only 15 seconds to go. Welf is from Ames is putting pressure on him.
In between the legs now.
If he gets that lace right or that over and under right, it's real hard for the man on the bottom to do anything except not go to his back.
The period ends, but actually it was a fruitless one unless for Welfa, unless he was able to wear Sindlinger down enough that he could get some points from him in the third period. Right, there's the team scores. Boy, that's a race.
Well, Marshalltown has nobody left, so it looks like Charles City's going to win that championship that they've been after. Of course, Clinton moved up ahead to take third.
Welfa is out. 5-3 is the score. Now he goes in on a takedown. Maybe he did wear Sindlinger down a bit. And the score is tied, 5-all. So we have a match here.
Yes, we do. Well, he's been rather workmanlike at what he's doing, you know. Here he just steps back in. Now watch him run the pipe. Just pull the leg down and in. Pulls the man right down to where there's no brace there. Sets him right on his rear.
1:40 to go. These are the heavyweights. And Welfa, who's been tough on top.
Well, I wouldn't anticipate now that it will end up 5-5 because Welfa's been very aggressive on top. If he can just be a little more aggressive, he might be able to get the near fall, or he might be able to get Sindlinger called for stalling. He just has to be able to move away from safety here and let Sindlinger hurt himself. He's got to get up out of there.
Well, you made that point again, that he's staying back on the leg rather than going around to the head on the crossface. And he's called. That's going to hurt him.
Oh, yeah, he got called for stalling, or locking hands. Locking hands because Sindlinger wasn't all the way up. The weight was not off his hands yet. can lock as soon as that man takes the supporting parts off the mat.
Now Welta may let Sindlinger go. He does. Feeling that he took him down last time and has a chance again. Sindlinger of Charles City. His team already has a state championship. There's the takedown for Welta. It's even up.
When he put him down that time, he really lit kind of hard. Maybe knocked him a little bit. I don't know whether he lit on his chin or his head.
We'll see.
I see him step in, follow that with a step himself, pulls him right up, turns him. I'm not too sure he came down, maybe hurt his chin. Maybe stunned him a little bit.
Tough on the knee there, too, I think. That was maybe what stopped it. That seems to be the problem. Sindlinger, I don't know, Sindlinger, when Welta took his leg in the air, there was no other leg there.
Well, he pulled it up so fast that the man didn't have a chance to let flexibility work for him.
And unfortunately, it put him in a bad spot there. We hope that knee is okay. There's a very special time coming up, by the way, on Iowa Public Television called Festival, from the 6th to the 16th, an 11-day period, spectacular program. We ask you to join Friends of Iowa Public Television. Festival kicks off on Thursday the 6th at 7:30 with a concert by Peter, Paul, and Mary, all the songs that made them popular. You can also enjoy country music, a 15-year salute to Masterpiece Theater, Benny Goodman, Harry James, Al Jarreau, Elvis, Lena Horne, many others. I'm looking forward to a complete performance of Follies by Sondheim on the 16th. Tune in March 6th through the 16th for Festival, and be sure to call and join Friends while you're enjoying TV worth watching here on Iowa Public Television.
See, as he picks this leg, he starts to pull it in. There's the other leg, just slides right out. Now, right there's where the knee gets twisted. You can see it come down, and just a twist on that knee. And in that position that it's in, it's probably on the inside. You know, you can see him sitting down trying to maneuver it, see whether he gets that click in there or not.
Matt Sindlinger. He's going to go back to work again. Give it a shot. The score is 7-7. And we have 56 seconds left. Welta of Ames has had to come from behind twice. He's only a junior, by the way. And Sindlinger is a senior.
He's going to intentionally push him out of there and give him the point.
He's going to take the 1-point deficit, assuming that he can take Sindlinger down. He's been able to do it twice.
Well, he steps in deep on that single. We didn't see Sindlinger's first takedown because we were on another mat, so we don't have any idea what Sindlinger did to take Welta down. So far, he's just had to kind of defend himself against that long stepping single that Welta tries.
"30 seconds to go." Coach Jack Mendenhall.
Well, he's got it again right there. He stepped in and took it away from him.
And now that puts Welta ahead by 1. And again, the leg is a problem for Sindlinger. He goes back to the center. We have 24 seconds to go.
He just steps in, takes it away. He's picking it hard. Lifts it up, and there he just tries to block the other one, drive him down.
Here is the tournament physician coming out to take a look at Sindlinger's leg.
Well, I don't know how much time he'll have left. He's going to have to make a decision pretty soon whether he wants to wrestle or not, or default.
He knows very well what's going through Sindlinger's mind, that this is a state championship match. There's less than a half a minute to go. You aren't going to make me quit. And the physician is saying, I don't like to see knees hurt for life. So here we go.
Doctor says
they're going to
no.
stop it. And the doctor wins. And it's unfortunate for Matt Sindlinger, but it's a victory for a junior of Ames, state champion heavyweight Paul Welker. And the little Cyclones go home with 2 championships.
Right. That's in the long run, you got to think about the athlete. That's what we're all here for, doctors, officials, coaches. Best to look after the health of the athlete.
I think they must have felt a little something in that knee when they checked it. Let's go to the awards
Coach Al
at
DeLeon.
185 for single A.
6th place, Chris Fenneman, Clarksville. 5th place, Terry Walder, Monona, MFL. 4th place, Brad Layton, Griswold. 3rd place, Trevor Clark, Pleasantville. 2nd place, Barney Drent, Rock Rapids, Central Lyon. And the 185-pound champion from Britt, Don Finch.
2 champions for Britt. Don Finch won his big. He had a 15-3 decision over Barney Drent in the championship round. Britt finishes 2nd in the team championship running at 1A2 here at Veterans Auditorium. It was a little closer here at the AA level in the 185-pound championship. Here are the awards.
6th place, Chris Underberg, Jefferson. 5th place, Jeff Baxter, Storm Lake. 4th place, Ben Greiner, Washington. 3rd place, Craig Stephen, New Hampton. 2nd place, Rod Lyman, Tama, South Tama County. And the 2A 185-pound champion from Mount Vernon, Tracy Allen.
Mount Vernon gets a champion.
They're
Tracy
accustomed
Allen.
to that, aren't they?
They sure are. They had a couple of Randalls in there on the stand for a long time. And the victory tonight was a close one, 4-3 for Allen over Rod Lyman of South Tama. Down go the AA winners, and up come the AAA at 185 pounds.
Presenting the Class 3A 185-pound awards, Coach Bob Murphy of Dubuque Waller. 6th place, Jamie Cutler, West Des Moines Dowling. 5th place, Dennis Heineck, Cedar Rapids Prairie. 4th place, Craig Maxon, Webster City. 3rd place, Jim Kazuki, West Des Moines Valley. 2nd place, Kevin Tan, Cedar Rapids, Washington. And the 3A 185-pound champion from Dubuque Waller, Greg Herber.
Boy, he was smiling all the way from the side.
That's true.
He couldn't stop.
Dave Hughes, report to the first aid.
Let's get a floor report from Dean Board.
Well, a young man who stood at the top of those stairs a year ago at 185 pounds in 2A. He repeated again just a few minutes ago, only this time in the heavyweight class. He's George Moorhead of Winterset. Came into tonight's match 30-3, having lost 3 matches. He was against Paul Wildman, 25-4 of Washington High School at Cherokee. Very hard-fought match, but Moorhead came off the winner 5-3. Now back to you, Doug.
And we have a super heavyweights yet to go. It's Urbandale against Epworth, West Dubuque. At the AAA level, that's the one we'll start with. We see Jeff Koppel of Urbandale against Kevin Loonsman of West Dubuque. And these are 2 biggies, I'll tell you, and both undefeated this year. Jeff Koppel is in his last wrestling match, they tell us, because he's going to play football at the University of Iowa. He was the champion last year. 1A level, it's Riceville's Seth Burnett against Van Buren's John Brown. Keosauqua. And at the AA level, Dan Chip of Carlisle wrestles Dave Saxton of Emmitsburg. Emmitsburg, I believe, is clinched 2nd place, yes, in the AA level. But Emmitsburg doesn't have a state champion yet. And an individual champion.
Here we go, men.
Here we go. AAA super heavyweights. These are the big guys.
Well, I think you said it best when you said Jeff Koppel from Urbandale's probably in his last match. He is a defending state champion. He has a lot of range. You know, he's got the range that both football and wrestling coaches are always looking for.
He's on the right there.
And of course, Kevin Loonsman from Epworth. This is I think the second time they've had a super heavyweight in the finals in the last couple of years. And I talked to Coach Kilberg. How do you get those super heavyweights? How do you coach them when you're in a little school out of weight? And he said, just kind of leave them alone, tell them not to fall on all the other guys. No, I'm making that up.
No.
But I'm sure that it's very difficult to try to train a real big man when you don't have a lot of other big athletes.
Okay, hold it steady. Okay, Urbandale, come ahead.
So a nice trip there by Jeff Koppel from Urbandale.
He leads 2-0. It's used about a minute and a half of the super heavyweight match. Veterans Auditorium. This is the last series of matches, last weight in the 1986 championships.
It's good mobility by big men. You know, they're
Getting down. Run.
controlling their hips very well.
Both up. Run.
Koppel lets him go. 2-1. He got a takedown fairly niftily the first time they squared off, and so he's willing to gamble on another one.
Well, Kevin Loonsman from West Dubuque is going to have to change his strategy here a little bit. He's down by one. Going to have to start to generate an offense.
Good job. Good job.
I'll tell you,
I don't want to let a guy like Koppel get in that position very often.
Not very often. He kicks that leg out from under you, and it's all over.
Well, when he starts to move his body to the side and steps past your leg, he's got so much motion and mass moving one way. If you don't go down, it tears your knee apart.
Red down.
You have to pretty much buckle or go.
Okay, hold steady, young man. Come ahead.
Loonsman on the bottom. Koppel covers, leading 2-1, starting the second period.
They stopped the stand up there by picking a leg up, but didn't follow it up.
Koppel trying to
still
lock
giving him control, saying that he still has control here.
We still got Urbandale control. Still got Urbandale control.
Nothing fancy, but he's
pretty powerful on top, and Kevin Loonsman from West Dubuque is doing a nice job on the bottom. You know, hand control.
That's 1 point.
So
We're
it's 2-2.
neutral. 1 point.
He's earning what he's getting.
Well, he hasn't lost a match this year. He got a pin in his opening round of the tournament in about a minute and a half over Webster City man, and then beat Ames Bob Metzger, or rather Brian Perez of West Des Moines Valley, and then got a very close win over Chris Stogdill of Charles City to get to the finals. Koppel beat Mike Fontana of Ankeny and Troy Drent of Spencer, and then Scott Bartling of West Davenport, and he didn't even have a close match.
Oh, he's dominated this tournament. So as I said, Kevin Loonsman is doing a good job of taking care of himself.
Okay, let's go with it. Let's go.
It's a 2-2 match, and this is the spot where he got hurt last time. He got pulled down out of position. Last time he got tripped backwards for the takedown. Now he gets caught down here with his knees. Don't want to stay on your knees because you're not very mobile there. He's turned in, doing a good job of body control.
Yeah, now
he's back in on the leg himself. You have to have pretty good agility, a man this size, in order to be able to do those things. See, a lot more people just fall down than you do what he just did. And also what Jeff Koppel's doing on the offense.
Koppel of Urbandale. His coach is Dale Weaver, Loonsman of wrestles for Tom Kilberg.
You got it.
We're having Dale Weaver, and there's Coach Kilberg right there. And Dale Weaver's about 118-pounder.
Are you ready? Come ahead, young man.
With a young man like Jeff Koppel. There's Weaver on the near side. And the guy that works out with Koppel all the time is right on the other side. That's probably the reason why Koppel's so good. He's got a man the same size to work out with.
2-2.
There's a nice sit out.
1 point. We're neutral. We're neutral.
And Koppel takes the lead with an escape. 3-2 with a minute and a half to go.
Stalemate. Men, let's not go to batting heads. Just go wrestling.
Kind of cautious right now. You know, it's that tempo is slowed down a little bit. Neither man is making a venture into something that he's not too sure, absolutely sure of.
We're getting down to the point where
Going to have to get desperate, aren't you?
Yeah, some chances may have to be taken because it's a minute and 8 to go in this unlimited class, the super heavyweight. Koppel of Urbandale on the left, Loonsman of West Dubuque on the right.
Warning! 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 Both wrestlers! Both wrestlers!
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, well, as long as they're both doing it, it isn't going to make any difference.
Neither man's doing anything. And as you say,
for stalling, you have a warning for stalling, okay?
as long as he gives them equally, Koppel can go ahead and take them because he's got the 1-point lead. So Kevin Loonsman's going to have to go here anytime now. He's going to have to get out of this position and generate an offense because there's only 30 seconds left. And now it's get beat by 4 or 5 or 6 or 1. What's the difference?
Neither man has shown any desire to do lower level attacks at all or doing upper body all the way. There's a double leg shot by Loonsman, but it didn't work. We're down to 12 seconds.
And now he may be desperate, so they needed to start that a little earlier.
Yeah, he should have.
5 minutes and 50 seconds ago.
Now the question is, out of bounds. But for a minute, with the way Loonsman was driving in and Koppel was backing away, the only danger was for Koppel of being called for stalling. And now he has head and arm control. He ought to be able to take it all the way out, and he does. 2 championships in a row for the Urbandale heavyweight. Well, if that's going to be his last wrestling match, that's a good way to finish, huh?
State championship.
2 times in a row. You see him playing football for Iowa. That's at the unlimited division of the AAAs. We still have 1 match going on. We're going to take a look at it here. This is the AA class, unlimited. Dan Chip of Carlisle against Dave Saxton of Emmitsburg. The score is 2-2 with about 25 seconds to go. Carlisle is in the red. Dan Chip. Dave Saxton of Emmitsburg is in the black. And if somebody takes somebody down in the last 20 seconds, he wins.
Well, they're down now to 10, so now it's maybe a mistake.
We may have an overtime here. And if you're a member of the super heavyweight union, you don't like to have to go extra time.
No.
You try to settle it early, you know. And
if you're a member of the super heavyweight fan club, you don't necessarily want to see him go that either. I'd like to see him get it over with.
Carlisle's Dan Chip against Emmitsburg's Dave Saxton, and we will have overtime. Now, the way it works in overtime is 1-minute periods rather than 2. They start just the same as they normally would. It's a brand new match. There's some criteria for deciding a victor if they have still tied at the end of the overtime. And I won't bore you with that. Hope that nothing happens that we have to use the criteria.
Well, they've used that criteria to try to take the pressure off the referees having to make those decisions, and as a result it puts the responsibility on the athletes, and really it's on the coaches to explain it to them all year long so that they understand when they come into a tournament just what you have to do in order to win if the overtime is tied. And so it's spelled out in the book.
Terry Curtis of Williamsburg is the official in super heavyweights. And out he comes. Oh, that's right. We're at the different level. This is Dwight Spangler DeWitt. Terry Curtis was refereeing in the Koppel-Loonsman match. And here they go. They start the first period on the feet, just the same as if they were starting a regular match, except that the periods are 1 minute in the overtime. And we didn't see the first part of the match. We don't know if either of these gentlemen are interested in lower level attacks, but Emmitsburg Saxton did.
Right, he shot in there on that.
Yeah.
He got stopped on it, but it's what sometimes makes a referee look with scrutiny on who's doing what offensively, who's making the efforts. There's a nice snap. It just didn't get in behind him. You got to get hip past hip in order to make those work.
Dave Saxton. Dan Chip in the red from Carlisle.
Well, he's in that underhook. That kind of all by itself for a heavyweight keeps a man off you. You can get in the underarm position. And of course, Dave Saxton from Emmitsburg is quite a bit shorter than Dan Chip from Carlisle. So he gets in that underhook position. It keeps the opponent from being able to come in underneath him. Now here he's got to pull him down and in to get him off balance. He's got to take him away from his base.
Second period now starts at 1 minute. Nothing in the first. Saxton goes down. Chip in the up position. 0-0 here in the overtime.
Might become strategy now. See who can just get out. Because time advantage does become a factor in making a decision.
And it's 1-0. Saxton escapes. This is the point in the match when the referee runs out to the middle and says, hurry, 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 get out here. It's amazing what the response can be.
Yes, and that fatigue is in there. I see the opportunity here for a takedown probably lies in snapping a man down instead of trying to get under him. The position both athletes are in, it's more instead of trying to pick him up and get under him, it's more because of his body lean to try to bring him down instead of trying to get under, snap, get him out of position, make him make a step, an adjustment.
The man in the dark, Saxton of Emmitsburg, had the escape. Now we go the other way around, and Chip goes down. So what happens here? Now let's suppose that Chip escapes. And it ends here, 1-1. Well, they had the same number of escapes. They'd have to go back to the original match.
They stayed in on the leg well, but Chip did a nice job.
And we are 1-1. Oh, here, Chip had at least a half a shot at a leg, but the underarm, the underhook by Saxton blocked the shorter man off it. 43 seconds to go. Third period of the overtime. We're 1-1 in the unlimited division. The AA class.
And I don't know if either of these men were in their original match penalized for stalling at all. But with the 1-1 the way it is now, it's going to go back to the regular match because this overtime hasn't decided anything. So then we'll revert back to the scoring that took place in the regular match. And the way the coach from Carlisle is yelling at his athlete, and the motion that the Carlisle athlete has given us would indicate that
May go down to the first takedown.
Yes, may go back to the regular match.
Yes.
And somebody that got penalized or somebody that got a takedown. I don't know how that will go. It's 10 seconds to go.
Well, it's going to end right here, I think.
3 seconds to go.
The coaches are running through their criteria
in their mind, I'm sure,
trying to figure out who wins here. Well, we have it in front of us. I don't think either man was penalized in the overtime. They have to go back to the original match. So then you start at the top. Neither man had more near falls than the other.
And I don't think they were penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct, because that 2-2 score would indicate that none of that
could have been greater number of takedowns. One man might have had a takedown and the other not.
Or a reversal, although they were on their feet, so I doubt that.
And you could get all the way down to the first takedown.
Let's hear what they're talking about at the bench.
The greater number of points for near falls. No near falls. The tie remains, the wrestler with a greater number of takedowns shall be declared the winner. No takedown. If the tie remains, the wrestler with a greater number of reversals shall be declared the winner. No reversals. If the tie remains, the wrestler with a greater number of escapes shall be declared the winner. Equal on escapes. Regulation launch.
Right.
The tie remains, the wrestler whose opponent has been penalized a greater number of times for stalling. Who was penalized for stalling? Carlisle was penalized for stalling.
There it is. Carlisle man may have been penalized for stalling.
It's hard to hear over that.
And Emmitsburg will be the winner.
Yeah, the awards are being given, and we still haven't seen it. It does appear that the winner is going to be from Emmitsburg because of a stall warning during the regular match against the Carlisle man. Here are the heavyweight championships.
The Class 1A heavyweight champion from Lorenz Marathon, Todd Jackson.
That's the heavyweight champion from the 1A class. And it is true the Emmitsburg man won at super heavyweight, so we'll lock that one away for you. They had to go very deep into the criteria list in order to find the reason. Now at the AA level, the heavyweight award winners.
The winner set. 6th place, Perry Fief, Atlantic. 5th place, Jim Lure, Emmitsburg. 4th place, Tim McCall, Denver. 3rd place, Mark Cooper, Carlisle. 2nd place, Paul Wildeman, Cherokee, Washington. And the 2A heavyweight champion from Winterset, George Moorhead.
Get a real good look at some of these other heavyweights now coming in.
We're going to have all the awards from heavyweight right through super heavyweight now because there's no wrestling yet to go. We'll have the awarding of the team championships too.
5th place, Kelly McKeever, Sioux City East. 4th place, John Lindeman, Linmar, Marion. 3rd place, Dave Turner, Clinton. 2nd place, Matt Sindlinger, Charles City. And the 3A heavyweight champion from Ames, Paul Weltha.
Paul Weltha of Ames, he had a tough match tonight, but he won it at heavyweight, and so Ames took home 2 championships, 2 individual championships. There was the awarding of the victory to the super heavyweight from Emmitsburg, Dave Saxton, because his opponent had been penalized for stalling in the regular match, not the overtime. Saxton was the winner.
Bruce Gronweg, Rock Valley. Fifth place, Rodney Benson, Griswold. Fourth place, Kevin Fry, Leon Central, Decatur. Third place, Joey Sprague, Janesville. Second place, John Brown, Keosauqua Van Buren. The 1A super heavyweight champion from Riceville, Seth Bonnet.
Seth Bonnet's the winner at super heavyweight over John Brown in the championship match. Riceville takes home a winner. And we're now coming up on Double A. We'll give you the team champions down through the first 3 places here as soon as we have them for you. And the awarding of the trophies will take place out in the center of the mat in these, the 1986 State Wrestling Championships from Des Moines live. Some of the super heavyweights are probably are trying to round them up now. And
when you run into one of those overtimes, you kind of get out of order. You know, it's hard to get everybody back where they belong and in place.
And you look at the size of these young men. Are you going to go up and tell them to move? They move when they're ready.
Sixth place, Larry Hageman, Hudson. Fifth place, Dennis Johnston, Nashua. Fourth place, Corey Carpenter, Dallas Center, Grimes. Third place, Todd Wright, Osceola Clark. Second place, Dan Ship, Carlisle. And the 2A super heavyweight champion from Emmitsburg, Dave Saxton.
So Emmitsburg, which was not able to win a team championship, did get a title holder here. Dave Saxton, the winner at super heavyweight. And he just finished. He had to run from one end of the building to the other.
Well, they had kind of a long year, Doug, really. They did not have a great dual meet team, but came back at some real outstanding individuals to get second in this tournament.
And we'll look at the champions in our last set of 6 top place winners, AAA super heavies.
Perez, West Des Moines Valley. Third place, Scott Bartling, Davenport West. Second place, Kevin Loonsman, Epworth, Western Dubuque. And the 3A super heavyweight champion from Urbandale, Jeff Keppel.
There he is. Last wrestling match. He gets his second state title. It's worth a smile, you bet. A lot of people watching in Urbandale and all over the state of Iowa tonight. We hope. Iowa High School Wrestling Championships, the 66th annual. Now, we're going to go out to the center of the mat after we talk to Dean Board.
Oh, thank you, Chuck. And you saw Seth Bonnet of Riceville get his gold medal just a minute ago. And I'm going to give you a glimpse, too, of how he happened to do that tonight. He picked up 4 points in the first period of the takedown and back points, in the second period an escape and a reversal, and then added 3 more with an escape and a takedown in the third period, piling up a total of 10 points to his opponent's 3. He was wrestling John Brown of Keosauqua Van Buren. So the champion super heavyweight Class A, Seth Bonnet, Riceville. Duck and Chuck, that's it from here.
Thank you, Dean Board. Dick Trotter and Dean Borg, who've been our floor reporters again this year. Mo Kelly is in the center of the auditorium, just about to present the championships trophies for the teams. And the third place trophy at 1A goes to Sigourney.
Second place in Class 1A with 65.5 points, Coach Al DeLeon and Brett.
Brett managed to win 2 individual championships late and move ahead of Sigourney. They came into the championship round in 3rd place behind Sigourney. They've been on the top rung a few times,
yes,
too.
they're back in there again. You don't want to give a team
And the Class 1A champion, 91 points, Coach Brad Smith and Lisbon.
Here come the Lisbon winners. Brad Smith was the coach of the year in the 1A level.
Well, that's their 4th title in the last 7 years, so they're accustomed to being here.
That's Lisbon in the 1A level, happy champions. Now let's go to double A. They'll give the top 3 trophies here. Mo Kelly of the Iowa High School Athletic Association is the man out.
3 members of the Board of Control to present the trophies to the 2A schools. To my immediate left is Keith O'Connell, Superintendent of Schools at Jackson Junction, Turkey Valley. In the middle is Bob Schmidt, Superintendent of Schools at Jefferson. And next to Bob is Jack Honchell, Superintendent of Schools at Centerville. In Class 2A, third place, 54.5 points. Coach Jim Steyer, State Center, West Marshall.
West Marshall. They did it with 2 state champions, too. Eggers and Kelber, and neither one of them tasted defeat the entire year.
They're hardly tall enough.
Second place with 68.5 points, Coach Clint Young and Emmetsburg.
Emmetsburg finishes second. They needed a lot of luck going into that last round to finish first. They came into the last round 9.5 points behind Eagle Grove and were not able to catch up. They did pick up the last championship awarded, though, in the super heavyweight. Emmetsburg.
There's the team everybody's looking for.
That's the team that's coming now. Number 1.
And Class 2A, the champions with 80 points, Coach Marv Ryland and Eagle Grove.
It's a big win for Eagle.
It's been a while for the Eagles to be in there. They're all pumped up and excited, I'm sure.
It's been a great wrestling school for many years, and there have been some down days over there.
Not now.
Not anymore. The Eagles are back. Now we'll go to 3A. Those are the 2A top 3.
In Class 3A, the presenters, to my immediate left is Larry Parr, principal of Ankeny. In the middle is Dr. Ken Sand, superintendent of schools at Southeast Polk, aided by Dr. Mitchell and Jackie Parkin. In Class 3A, third place with 79 points, Coach Bob Luters and Clinton.
Clinton with Dan Knight winning his 3rd championship. Have wrapped up 3rd place in the 1986
in
AAA
second place with 80.5 points, Coach Phil Henning and Marshalltown.
Phil Henning was Coach of the Year. He's also the president of the Coaches Association. He's done a fine job in that.
He has really done a lot for Iowa wrestling.
And you also saw him as the referee in both the Iowa State meets. So he gets around a little bit, and his team finished 1 point out of the lead.
81.5 points, Coach Nick Hobbs and Charles City.
The first championship ever for Charles City. They win it by 1 point. 1 point's as good as a million.
They'll be excited.
And so those are the team winners. Happy individuals, happy teams in our 66th annual State High School Wrestling Championships from Veterans Auditorium in Des Moines, Iowa. We've been with it all night, as we have been now. This is what, 15th year? There's the 1A team standings farther down into 6th place. See, it was close after we got past 2nd. Riceville, Central Decatur, and Janesville all in there tough. In the 1A team standings. 2A, again, it was close for 3rd. Sheldon did a fine job with 2 champions. And so did Starmont. And at the 3A level, we had the closest of all. Top 4, only 4 points apart. Fort Dodge, West Des Moines, Dowling, and Valley in there close for 5 and 6. You're looking at some of the championship teams out in the center. Now the next thing that happens is that the individual champions get together, and we're happy to bring these to you. For us, it's the end of our wrestling season. We brought you our 10th anniversary college wrestling season and our 15th anniversary high school championships. And we said that, CP, you weren't going to be back. College wrestling. He's...
I have enjoyed it. It's been a great crew.
Oh, yeah.
You're really a fine man, Doug, and our production crew is really super. It's been
well, I'll tell you what. We went out, and the guys dipped into their small change pocket and got you a little something here, CP, to take back to Seattle with you. Now, you might want to go out in the parking lot somewhere behind a truck and open that up.
I don't open that on the air, huh?
No. Okay.
Well, I appreciate that.
You can. That's all right. It's about, you know, short season.
Short season?
And we're happy to have been bringing you this with CP's help. The color man who was a coach for 18 years at the University of Northern Iowa, head coach, and now goes back undefeated to his new home in Seattle, Washington, or Everett, Washington. Well, we are going to be wrapping it up now. We brought you all the championships. The team champions tonight are, as we pointed out, in the 3A division, Charles City for the first time. In the 2A, Eagle Grove, back on top again. And at the 1A, Lisbon, which has been a champion for a long time. It's great working with you, Chuck.
Thank you, Doug.
See you, CP, and also see you, Dean Borg and Dick Trotter. Thank you for our floor. And all the crew here at Iowa Public Television. Remember, friends of Iowa Public Television made this program possible. We hope that you'll remember us with your support when Festival 86 starts March 6th through 16th. That's Festival 86. Plan to watch on Iowa Public Television's fine program. And now, for Chuck Patton, Dean Borg, Dick Trotter, and everybody else here, I'm Doug Brown. Good night for Iowa Public Television.
Major funding for this program was provided by Friends of Iowa Public Television. Your place for Festival, Iowa Public Television.